Well, it's day 3 here in Porto Cervo, the World Championship. It's going to be a little bit more breeze, even more competitive. Top of the table, a very small lead for the French team, for Paprec, but really it's wide open, so we'll reach the halfway point. We caught up this morning with Jean-Luc Petitjugonen, the bullion owner from Paprec. So, Jean-Luc, things going really well for the Paprec team?
Yes, really well. We have a fantastic beginning. Exactly, the first day we have a plastic and we were 5 and we finished 13, but after we were in the top team, yes. It's supposed to be first today, incredible.
So obviously the World Championships are very special for you. You came very close last year. Yes. What about this year?
We were so cold last year, so close last year. So we have to wait today. We will see. If we keep our speed, it could be a good day.
What have you changed about the team and about the boat since last year, except for the colours and the paint?
No, it's always the same team with the same people. We train much more, and we have new sails. Maybe it could help. I don't know exactly.
How do you like Porto Cervo?
I like it very much, especially Magdalena. It's a fantastic. I would dream that we make. You remember in the past, we make a very long course around.
Coastal race.
Yeah.
You want to do that again?
Yeah, no, I don't know why, but it could be a good idea.
And how do you feel about the season generally? Are you loving it?
I love TP52. I love it's. Frankly spoken, it's a chance to be a part of this event with so many good sailors, all these guys. It's fantastic, really fantastic.
Good, have a good day.
Thank you.
So that's Jean-Luc from Paprec. We caught up with the world's best navigator, or the navigator's navigator if you like, Juan Vila from Platoon. So Juan, how are things on the Platoon this week?
Yeah, pretty nice. I think we feel that we improved the boat. I think the boat is going better and better, so we're quite happy about that. And yeah, just started the competition. It looks like everything is pretty close. I mean, you could see the first day and second day different results. So yeah, looking forward to the rest of the week.
What about today? What's going to happen today?
I think it looks like a little bit better in terms of breeze. We got the breeze already in. Speed-wise, it should be pretty similar at the end of the day yesterday. So yeah, again, sea breeze, pretty nice sailing conditions.
How much wind will we get, and what is it? Still a right side track, or what's the strategy?
I think it could be a little bit more open. Yeah, there is a right trend in general, so it's just a matter of balancing a right trend with a left bend.
So you got our Platoon have won 3 times before. Can you win it again?
We hope for so. We are all concentrated to do this, and that's our goal, obviously. But it's also the goal in all the other 15 boats.
So what's it going to take?
It's going to take to just be very regular, just very consistent. It's very easy to do bad races on this fleet. So yeah, consistency, I think, as everyone knows, is the key.
Beside Platoon, who's your favourite?
Well, I think you could say, I mean, many of them. Obviously, they're all. As you could see, everyone can win, but yes, Led are selling pretty well, and obviously No Way Back. They got a very strong team, but yeah, Paprec seems to be doing very well as well. So yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of probably boats that will be upset now because I don't mention them, but I think anyone can be a potential winner.
Fantastic. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.
And let's look back and see how things went yesterday. Well, it's day 2 and all the talk is of yesterday's port tack start by Sled, which really launched him into the race lead, a win which keeps him at the top of the table. Can the same thing happen again? Can lightning strike twice? Well, let's wait and see. Race 3, the breeze is very slightly lighter than day 1, about 8 knots in the start line, wind axis 100 degrees, and it's really about getting out to the right early. Good start from Paprec, Alpha Plus, lead out to the right, Paprec lead round the top mark, Alpha Plus round in second, very close between the two of them. Then Trinity come round in third, and it's a little bit of a match race at the top mark coming round with Paprec and Alpha Plus still close, but through the finish line it's the first race win for Paprec for the French team. Alpha Plus come through in second, Trinity Racing come through in third, Allegri get fourth, but in sixth Sled still hold the regatta lead. Race number 4, breezes up slightly more, a little bit more sparkle on the water, breezes slightly further to the right once again. Great start, the committee boat into the line. Alpha Plus get away to the right early, as do Trinity. Trinity sail a really nice upwind, just sailing their own numbers. Around the top mark, Alpha Plus leading from Trinity. Caballo Loco come round in third. Alpha Plus managed to extend the way, really having a great day, getting a race win and a second. The day belongs to the team from Hong Kong. Trinity Racing come through the line in second, and Paprec get third and lead the regatta. So after 4 races, first are Paprec on 21 points, second are No Way Back on 23 points, and third now are Sled on 24 points.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
So welcome back to beautiful Porto CERVO, the Costa Smeralda shimmering once again today. Beautiful sunshine, 24, 25 degrees air temperature, and on the water this building sea breeze, fantastic conditions. More of the same. Katie, you're on the water, how's it looking?
Yeah, it's so nice. I mean, I say this every day, but it's so hot out here. I've just reapplied sun cream for about the 4th time this morning since I've been out here. But yeah, it's super nice breeze. The breeze has actually been in from a little bit earlier this morning. It's a little bit further left than it was when we finished the day yesterday, so expecting it to potentially swing right a bit and hopefully build with a bit of a sea breeze or a bit of a thermal enhancement. There's some clouds up, kind of starting to bubble up over the shore, which hopefully will give us a bit more to go with. But yeah, it's a glam day and I think it's going to be some really good racing.
Thanks, Katie. Moritz, what's your thoughts on today? I mean, we're reaching what the French like to call the equator, the midpoint of the regatta, race 5 in theory, 10-race series. What's your tip for the top today?
I mean, the conditions look really nice. As Katie said, we've got a slightly more breeze, and it just helps all these boats, especially in the pre-start phase, kind of gaining speed. But yeah, I mean, Paprec leading the regatta, it seems like a high point scoring regatta and all to play for, but you definitely see the good teams are getting ahead by consistency.
Indeed, consistency is very much the watchword at this regatta with a 15-boat fleet. So hard to get remain in the top half of the fleet, where so many teams have got a big score so far. Interesting, I think, a little insight from Jean-Luc. They're just saying that they had a plastic bag or plastic round their keel. They were lying 5th in that first race, so it kind of gives a different complexion to that 13th and the first race for Paprec. But it is the French team from Brittany that are leading. Paprec on 21 points, 23 points for No Way Back, and really nicely poised. A fairly steady scoreline. Worst score of 8th is pretty good so far for Peter Harima. Sled then at 12th in the second race yesterday, but otherwise they're very much in contention in 24 points, 25 Alkedo Vitamina, a little bit inconsistent yesterday, but very, very strong performers. Platoon Aviation in 5th on 25 points, 27 for Alpha Plus, 12-12-2-1. A big question now after a day like yesterday is, can they maintain that high level that they set themselves yesterday? Same too could be said for Trinity Racing, 3 and a 2 for them yesterday. Vayu not such a good day yesterday. This kind of object lesson in a good day followed by a bad day. Gladiator in 9th, Allegra in 10th, that 4th yesterday, giving them lots of hope. And let's see how they go today. Teasing Machine in 11th. A couple of big mistakes or technical problems that have cost them really. Preveza in 12th, very much underperforming compared to their home regatta in Puerto Portales last month. And the two Brazilian teams, Caballo Loco and Crioula, 13th and 14th, and the newcomers Vudu learning the ropes of the 52 Super Series and the ROLEX TP52 World Championship in 15th. But we're looking ahead to a good day's racing. Do we think the breeze is going to build through the day, or do you think we'll see most of the breeze in this first race, Momo? What's your thoughts?
My weather report from Lacorte was bang on for the last few days, so I'm trusting it today. The breeze might build a little from here and end up being 1 or 2 knots more than the last race yesterday. But steady as the other days. We're going to see hopefully see a bit of a right shift. But these nice sea breeze conditions, blue sky, it's absolute champagne sailing.
So Katie, just give us a geographical positioning. Where are we today?
So today we're just off Porto CERVO, so we're just out off the marina. We're quite close into the shore, but we've got land on the right-hand side and kind of open sea out to the left. So I think that land on the right might have a bit of an effect, and especially with the breeze kind of swinging right throughout the day as well. But it's the most stunning backdrop out here from a purely aesthetic perspective. It's beautiful, but and I think it will have a bit of an effect sailing as well.
I think you're wishing you were racing today, Katie.
Oh, very much so. It'd be so cool to be on one of these boats today.
And just in terms of who's emerging, what's your thoughts? To say Paprec, 4-1-3, other than that 13th, No Way Back are really consistent, though. They're you kind of think they're really putting together a great series so far, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are, and I think actually at this point in the regatta we're going to start seeing those boats which are getting the consistency, and I think they're the boats that are going to start kind of staying at the top and kind of maybe getting slightly further ahead, getting slightly bigger points gaps between the boats behind that are a bit more inconsistent. I think Paprec did a really nice job yesterday of getting a really low scoring day, and I mean Alpha Plus did as well. I think it's going to be all about that consistency and seeing if avoiding the big scores basically.
Momo, a day when you can afford to be conservative in starting, you really have to be on the line, on the gun.
Yeah, it's interesting talking to all the top teams. They always talk about these averages, and they always talk about how an average of 4 points wins your regatta or an average of 5 points, and it just shows the mentality of these teams. They are always bang on in risk management and know when to risk more and when to risk less.
Katie, how's the start line looking? What would be your preferred end of the line or middle of the line? What would be your strategy as a tactician, strategist on the start line?
I think probably not too dissimilar to yesterday. I think I'd want to be probably heading out to that right-hand side of the race course, but I don't think it's critical that you win that boat end. I think you need to be getting off the line with speed in probably the boat third of the line or the top third of the line. But I'd be prioritising, clear space off the line, clear lane, and then really prioritising trying to get out to that right-hand side once I'd got a clear start would be my plan if, everything went to plan.
So how do you see this fleet shaping up there, Momo?
I mean, pretty even start. Kind of all the boats are trying to find their space. You have a bit of a pile up at the boat end. But I think the fleet noticed from yesterday that just spreading out a little and, in this breeze, having a nice build up to the line is very strong.
20 seconds to go. We've got Crioula and Preveza this end. The top end, who's at the boat there, Momo?
We have Platoon, Vayu and Vudu at the boat end setting up. Also, it's important to remember to build speed there and not to be kind of have the door closed on you at the boat end.
Very, very even start. I'm seeing No Way Back. No Way Back made a really nice start in the middle of the line. Also Alkedo there, the blue and black bow number 36, all clear is the message from our race committee boat. Crioula have space to lure to build speed into. Nice start from Preveza, maybe Paprec just a little bit back. Actually interesting there, Momo, just we saw the black and yellow, the bumblebee bow of No Way Back coming across the line earlier, but they don't seem to have the speed they need.
Yeah, if you just start that build a little late or you're a little too close to the boat to lure it of you, you're going to struggle for the first part of the upwind. I think it does show you the quality of the fleet, that they're all so close to the line when the gun goes, and just being 2 meters ahead or 2 meters behind can make all the difference. And I think you can really see that nicely with Alkedo here. They were, less than half a boat length ahead, but that just gives you the ability to sail faster than the other boats and point your nose out of the fleet now.
Crioula at the pin end of the line, along with Preveza, Katie.
Yeah, Crioula and Preveza getting, there was a lot of good starts on that line, to be completely honest with you. Everyone a bit more spread out, so it just meant that everyone had a little bit more space and was able to kind of get off the line at the gun. But Crioula looking quite nice to me out on this left-hand side. Whether the left-hand side will be the strong side or not, we'll see in a bit. But yeah, they're looking to be pretty quick at the moment, and they're pulling away a bit from Preveza now as well. So we saw them doing this start quite a lot last season. They enjoy the pin end start, being able to be clear, sail their own race, sail speedy, and it did actually work quite a lot for them last year. So we'll see this year whether it's as good for them.
Momo, in the meantime, bow 36. Alkedo got off the line very well. I think they're just thinking they can tack out to the right. We're seeing a Vudu going right early.
Yeah, I think the challenge is that if you want to get to the right, you're going to have to find the lane to go to the right, and that's why you see Alkedo, looking over the shoulder, just waiting for that opportunity.
Talk us through this tack then as they go through. What's the key elements?
I think very important is the traveller. You're trying to get the traveller all the way to the other side, but you cannot do that too early. As you're coming up into the tack, you don't want to be losing the traveller to leeward. So I think in this case they connected the traveller to the rear pedestal, and this kind of gives you the ability to really move it from one side to the other as fast as possible. You'll see me talking about the Traveller a lot. It just gives you a good indication of how powered up these boats are. And right now, we've got light conditions, and the Traveller's all the way to windward and giving you the ability to really twist open your mainsail.
In the meantime, actually, Crioula have got good speed on this left side. Gladiator close to the boat and going out to the right. We spoke with Freddie Carr this morning. He said, expect to see us on the boat, end of the line, and that seems to be what the strategy they have executed on. And they're in third just now. Alkedo in a more open lane, about a third of the way across the fleet, looking upwind. How long do we feel Crioula will stay on this side, Momo?
Well, it's a good question. The problem with being the most left-hand boat is that you will just have to wait until every single boat to the right of you goes to the right. So either they're trying to go all the way to the left, or they just don't have a way to find your lane to the right. We saw this with Platoon very well yesterday. They started well, bow forward, but they just couldn't get to the right-hand side, which ended up being a bit stronger.
In the meantime, we're just seeing a Platoon Aviation coming across on starboard, just getting out to the a little bit more to the left, I think, at the moment. They're quite deep in 12th, but this is a critical phase of the race, Momo, isn't it?
Yes, the first upwind is the most important phase of the race, and all these boats will always be optimized for maximum amount of speed on the first upwind. The way the boats have been developing is to increase the upwind speed, and sometimes even to forget more about the downwind but really focus on the upwind. So this is all to play for here, and if you have the order in which the boats go around the first mark, it doesn't change so much from there.
It doesn't indeed. All the teams, that's their general strategy in terms of optimizing, and increasingly so it's all about upwind speed, and in particular increasingly in a slightly bigger fleet, height, being able to live on a tight lane or a high lane coming off the line, separating or lifting away from your rivals, whether they're below or above you. And then the chat is it's about sticking your elbows out and kind of defending more on the downwinds in terms of positioning. maybe giving away just a little few fractions of a knot of speed downwind from time to time. Katie, how's it shaping up? What's your opinion at the moment? Not getting Katie, but still looking pretty good for Crioula.
Sorry, that was...
Sorry, go on, Katie.
Sorry, I forgot to press my unmute button. Yeah, it's a lot more of an open race course today out here. I think all of the boats are kind of a lot less worried about getting straight over to that right-hand side. I think it's going to be, both Crioula and Gladiator gone either side of the race course. What is whether we see a bit of that right-hand bend on the right-hand side of the race course, because if we see that right-hand bend, I reckon Gladiator's going to come in pretty strong. It's going to be quite a hard lay line for them to call, calling it from so far out, especially if there is going to be a right-hand shift. You don't want to overlay, because then that opens the door for the boats below you, but you also don't want to underlay and then have to do 2 more tacks, because manoeuvres are pretty costly. So yeah, well, they'll be talking about how they manage this lay line as they're coming up to it.
But Alpha Plus showing well after that stellar day yesterday, Momo. They seem to be carrying on from where they left off in many respects.
Yeah, that's really good to see. I mean, it's one thing having a good day and then, you know, getting into the spirits of it and being motivated, but continuing that into the next day and not letting the pressure get to you shows a good sign for a strong team.
Great to talk with Luc van der Kamp, the young project manager, yesterday after racing. He said the best of this team is yet to come. We feel they had a relatively slow build to their season. They didn't do any training and were quite late in preparing the boat, and so he really felt that yesterday's performance was indicative of the team's potential. Of course, they finished third last year in Puerto Portals, and Edo Stead, as said many times before, Edo Stead and Ian Moore, a great combination at the back of the boat. Young helmsman and 28-year-old Nick Egnott Johnson. But they could be underdogs, the dark horses in this regatta, Momo, couldn't they?
Yeah, and I mean, quite a group of young guys on the boat. And in this case, it's just really important to get days on the water. As you said, if you have, you know, a few training days coming into the season, it'll always mean you're starting on the back foot. So every racing day is a day you're learning something in, which, you know, will be a bit different for teams like Platoon or that have been doing it for a long time.
Katie, things still looking pretty good for Crioula on this left side of the track. Relative to Gladiator, which is, I think, the most right-hand boat that we can see at the moment. Gladiator are 6th for the meantime.
Absolutely. I mean, Crioula's looking pretty strong up here. They've got clean breeze. They're going pretty quick, like upwards of 8 knots. At the moment, I think they were, when I just looked at the tracking speeds, they had the top speed out of everyone, the kind of 8.4 knots as opposed to kind of 8 knots out on that right-hand side of boat speed. So maybe they've got a little bit more pressure out here. And yeah, maybe they'll be able to kind of get back onto that starboard ley line and tack in front of the fleet and be clear ahead.
What about the middle of the course? How do you feel that is? The likes of Alkedo?
I think the middle of the course is, it always makes me a bit nervous in a super big fleet. But yeah, I think anyone that's punched out in the middle, so potentially Alpha Plus looking potentially quite good. Also Alkedo and Sled, they're pretty close as well. I think anyone that's, bow forward of the boats around them, they could be pretty powerful. But yeah, you wouldn't want to be coming in bow back of everyone and having to manage that ley line with all the traffic. Middle of the fleet, Alpha Plus and Alkedo for me looking quite strong.
In the meantime, 14th at the moment, no way back. Just when we were saying how consistent they've been, a recovery process, I think you'd imagine, needs to be put into place for no way back. Momo in 13th or 14th.
Yes, you just see them tacking out to kind of get a clear lane again. But yeah, they're a bit back. But I think, it's important with this open race course to take the opportunities you can get and get yourself in a position where you can play the shifts and, you know, take the little shifts that you can get.
Yeah, indeed, Katie, then things look a little bit painful for no way back. Very much in the middle of the track, behind the group of boats.
Yeah, they are in the trenches, which is, but I mean, one, I guess, positive thing you could say is that they have been finding themselves in the trenches along with Platoon, getting involved in all those battles quite a lot the last couple of days. So actually they're pretty well practiced from the last 2 days of being there and battling it out with all the boats around them. And we've seen that they are able to kind of claw back places, and we've seen that they're able to navigate themselves out of the packs. So I don't think it's over yet for those guys, but I think, yeah, they'll be just trying to think about how they can actually get some space away, get some clear wind and chip away.
Indeed, so fingers crossed then for Peter Rima and the team. No way back. They've got some work to do. I mean, when you look at yesterday, how that right-hand shift in the second race really influenced the shape of the race ultimately, didn't it, Momo?
Yes, no, it absolutely did. But yeah, as Katie said, it does look like a different race course out there. You can see Gladiator and Trinity have tacked back in, but they're not ahead. Gladiator and will also maybe struggle, and with Trinity coming up. But yeah, it seems like the middle of the race course paid quite nicely, and not to just to go out to one corner.
Provezza then up in third just now, this left side. Quite good. Crioula and Provezza started off the pin. Alpha Plus, I think Alpha Plus are showing pretty good speed in these conditions, Momo, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they like these conditions, and I guess if you can take all the learnings from yesterday. The important thing with having a good day is still looking at it critically and seeing what you can improve, and they seem to have done that. And
what you can do better.
Yeah.
So watching Alkedo tacking into strong position, just the weather of Gladiator. Alkedo in sixth for the meantime. Platoon Aviation up in second, Provezza in third. But it's really, once again, exacting conditions, maximum concentration, Momo, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially for the driver and the trimmers, in these conditions, every little adjustment matters, and these boats are so sensitive for every input you give them.
Perfect timing, perfect.
Yeah, and coordination, one trimmer doing one thing and the other trimmer's not reacting to him, doesn't work. You have to work together. The runner trimmer is just as much trimming the mainsail as the mainsail trimmer is. So a good line of communication there, or experience, just really pays there.
It was interesting this morning doing an interview with Lara Johns from the No Way Back team. She said, the thing about this team is when everything's working, it's an almost silent boat.
Yeah, I think also good to see here is Platoon. You see Victor Mourinho, the runner trimmer there, looking at the numbers just as much as the main trimmer is. The runner is such an important tool on these boats to kind of define the shape of the mainsail and to kind of control forestay sag.
I mean, it's interesting. Victor is just focused on the numbers, isn't he?
Yeah, no, the runner trimmer is always also in his position. Takes care of the mast trim with the main trimmer, whilst the main trimmer is kind of talking to the helmsman and controlling the heel. The runner trimmer can be all focused on the data.
What kind of heel are we wanting in this upwind?
I think in this upwind we're looking at roughly 18 degrees of heel. The maximum amount of heel you'll be wanting to run on these boats is 22 degrees in any conditions. But yeah, 18 degrees of heel would be optimal. Not quite sure if they have enough pressure to do that. But you do see all the crew hiking out. Our coach always says there's a hike and then there's a super hike, and all these teams will be doing the super hike out of the start, which means not just bum off the floor, but also arms down, head down, and not saying a word.
I know we're not quite in these conditions at the moment, but it's very much about responding to the little increases in pressure, isn't it?
No, absolutely, yeah.
On board with the Trinity Racing, then Joachim Sundberg, the new owner in the fleet. Second regatta ever for him. Meantime, Ed Baird there, the crouching tiger, the tactician.
I think it's a good combination of a younger, newer helmsman with the experience of Ed Baird. I think what worked nicely for them is that they always stayed out of the thick of it yesterday and sailed a clean and simple race, which worked nicely for them yesterday.
When you're talking to people who sail with Ed, that there's nobody better in terms of carefully and succinctly painting the picture of what's going on, what he's wanting to happen.
Yeah, but yeah, right now they're in the in-fight.
Very, very even temperament.
Yeah, no, that's good to have. You know, if you're a person directing an orchestra of 15 sailors, you have to stay calm and you have to make clear calls, because what can really, really hurt you is there being any confusion in the calls you're making or something not being understood properly.
Anyway, Platoon Aviation nicely positioned in this race. Crioula, though, still leading from that left-hand side. So still going well for Crioula, Katie. They've positioned themselves nicely. They've taken their gain from the early left, and they're setting up quite nicely for this first windward mark, Katie.
Yeah, I think they did a really nice job. Like, they had really good speed from the start. Putting yourself on the pin and leeward boat, it just means you have so much freedom to sail your own modes, sail your own numbers, and they kept it really simple. Didn't try and tack out before the fleet, just tacked out when they had a lane and then came all the way back across. Yeah, they're looking pretty nice for me. I think looking at No Way Back on, they also kind of decided to go back up to that left as well, and I'm really interested where they're going to come out of this ley line, because they're coming quite close into the marks on this ley line, and I imagine there's going to be a lot of traffic. So watching how they navigate that could mean that they gain 5 places or lose 5 places in just one situation alone. So I think keeping half an eye on them would be sensible, in my opinion.
Indeed, they've come back up through the fleet quite nicely, up to 6. All about positioning in the fleet. But great shots there, nice images of Platoon Aviation.
Yeah, you can see on Platoon they are definitely doing the super hike.
Yeah, and a high mode compared with Crioula.
Yeah, I mean, this high mode is always only possible when you're sailing fast, and only then can you try and take the bow up. It doesn't work the other way around. But you know, if you're in a position where you have got clear air and you have got a good position, you can then slowly start working on the height without losing too much speed.
Anyway, it's looking like Crioula will be first around the windward mark, which would be a great start to the day for the Brazilian team. With actually a moment with quite a comfortable little lead there, should be able to build on that, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I think they had a really nice start at the pin end, and the pin end gives you the ability, you know, if you win the pin, you have no boat below you, and you can stretch your legs, which they absolutely did, and the left-hand side worked well for them. Yeah, you can see the bowman preparing the kite quite early, maybe an indication for the spreader leg being a bit shorter, or you know, for an earlier set being possible.
But looks like Platoon Aviation coming round in second. Katie, talk us through the next few boats, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so you've got, as you say, Crioula out in first. Comfortable lead, really nice upwind by them, and then Platoon. And then what looks potentially to be between Paprec and Preveza. I think Paprec is just on the inside, but you've got 3 boats kind of all stacked up, Paprec, Preveza and Alpha Plus, all going around this windward, pretty much neck and neck. And then you've got 3 boats trying to tack in on the port lay under the fleet. I mean, I can already see 4 boats. Behind the 3 boats, there's another 4 boats all stacked up neck and neck, and I think it's going to just create a couple of little gaps in the fleet going downwind, so you're going to have a couple of little packs all fighting out on the downwind. But those 4 boats that are now currently going around together are going so slow right now, as they're all trying to pinch so high to get around the mark, and it's looking like Vudu and holding everyone up on the inside.
And just very much closing the door on Alpha Plus behind, aren't they? It's all to the good of Alkedo, who are getting round now. Alpha Plus then, I think, isn't it, getting into bother there? Just getting round and no more.
Yeah, I think Alpha Plus was a bit ahead, but it's nice for Alpha Plus to have all these boats pinching behind, because it just means you have a bit of a gap behind, and you can look forward and look for opportunities to attack, not just looking to defend from the boats behind you.
So sled in a reasonable position, something to build on. Vudu coming round in 8th, though very slow. 9th is Teasing Machine. 10th, No Way Back. 11th, the Vayu. And 12th, Gladiator. Gladiator down in 12th. They were good early on in that beat, Katie, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they executed the start they absolutely wanted, as you were alluding to earlier when Freddie said, watch the boat. That's very much their strategy, and they absolutely nailed it. It just happened to not be the right side of the beat this time, so that'll be a bit frustrating for them, and I wonder if they'll still have the same strategy for the next beat and the next race, or whether they'll actually think it's a completely different day to yesterday. We need to be more open-minded and maybe switch it up a bit.
But in the meantime, Momo, the French are on fire.
Yeah, no, Patrick, you're doing a nice job. I mean, it's...
I mean, not pushing anything on the start line, not, taking undue risks, sailing fairly conservatively up there, early part of the beat, and there they are in 3rd. The best of the top group, shall we say.
I mean, this sounds really cliche, but that team really always looks like they're having fun. And
well, they are, without a doubt. Yeah. Going way back, to before Loic joined the programme, Paprec would stay out and practice and sail into the late afternoon after racing was over. Not just because they wanted to practice, because they love being on the water as a team, and they're certainly one of the strongest bonds through that team. They've been together for so many years and they've got so much experience. So that would be the projected standings after race 5. Paprec would be 3 points ahead of a Platoon Aviation. Sled would be in 3rd on 31. Alkedo 31 also for No Way Back, and Alpha Plus on 32. So super close between the top 6. This is this is going to be the midpoint of the Regatta. Race number 5, I can pretty sure we should get all 10 races, Momo. You would imagine so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, the conditions for the next few days look very similar. You just have this general high pressure area not too far away from us, and this means that the weather forecast is dominated by the sea breeze that will be building every day, which means that if the sun shines, conditions for sailing will be there, and we're probably not looking at so much more breeze than there has been in the last few days, but sailing like this will, I think it will be similar conditions to today.
I think we kind of thought there might be a little bit more wind pressure tomorrow and a little bit lighter on Saturday. Is that the feedback you're getting?
It always depends on which forecast you look at.
Yeah. Let's look at the best forecast.
Yeah.
But things moving certainly in the right direction for the Platoon Aviation team, a team which is very much at home here. Vasco and Jordi Calafat. After guard Juan Villa, who we talked to. Just a little bit of movement there, Momo.
Yeah, but and you can see them all jumping up for the jibe.
They've increased their power, I think, in the grinding department there on board Platoon, haven't they?
They've got some proper big guys. And
so why is that? What's the thinking there now?
Well, on these boats, having that much power is essential. Maybe not in these conditions, but on these 20-knot days, you're going to have to set the kite, drop the kite multiple times, doing jibes, and not just the raw power of these guys, but the endurance is very, very important. And especially towards the end of a day, if people start getting tired, you lose concentration and the mistakes start to creep in. So having the fittest, biggest guys on the handles just means that, there's less chance for maneuvers going wrong.
And having grinders who are intuitive sailors really helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, because they are big guys, they bring a lot of weight with them. So,
but also being able to anticipate what's going to be asked of them at which time is really, really important, isn't it?
And where to, place their own weight.
And with looking at the season as a whole, then obviously 2 regattas in Lanzarote, you would hopefully see trade wind conditions. 20 knots would not be unusual every day in Lanzarote. Certainly strong breezes. You kind of set up your team for the season, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the boat handling in those conditions becomes, you know, exponentially more challenging. So having a team that's well versed and has seen those conditions before and has had many practice days can be the recipe to win. And I think that's where we saw Paprec shining on the last day in Puerto Portals.
So there we go, sled jibing just in front of No Way Back. No Way Back in 8th, sled in 7th.
Yeah, I think the build out of this jibe will be really essential for sled not to get run over by No Way Back. And I think what's always interesting is that on these boats, on the downwind, you definitely sail by the apparent wind numbers and not the kind of the true wind direction. Because your apparent wind numbers are the numbers that, you know, your Windex on the top of the mast is actually measuring. They are just a little more accurate and have a little less lag, so they just give you the ability to sail the boat better on the downwind, especially.
So Crioula, a fairly comfortable lead. Katie, platoon aviation solid in second. What's Vasco and Jordi Calafat? What's their strategy from here? Are they consolidating or are they attacking?
I think for me, I would be thinking consolidating. The difference between first and second versus second and potentially fifth in this fleet, if you get something wrong and you go too aggressive and get it wrong and then you lose all the places, I think you'd probably take maybe even a top 5 result. Consistently top 5s, I would say, is a pretty good day. So for me, I would be consolidating that second position for sure, trying to keep myself in between the fleet and the marks, just trying to do the next right thing and hold on to that second place.
But this breeze seems fairly even all the way down the track, as you said, Katie, and Momo indeed. Much more open course today then, isn't it?
Yeah, much more open course. And actually I think having seen Vudu and Gladiator both driving out of the packs a little bit earlier and kind of heading out to the opposite side, we'll have to see how that comes out of the bottom, but it's not potentially not a bad move. You could see that there was a big group of kind of 5 or 6 boats that all went round at a similar time, and they were all sailing in quite a high mode compared to the boats in front of them, because they would have all been affecting each other's breeze. They would have all been trying to defend their own breeze. So I think potentially, if it is a more open race course, there is more opportunities to make gains. So you can afford to be jibing out a bit earlier or holding on a bit longer and just trying to look for those opportunities around the course.
So now it is the Brazilian team, Crioula, which is leading. They won one race in Puerto Portals in a solid regatta. I think finished 6th overall, something like that. But they were very much always in the hunt, and obviously one of their advantages compared with other teams is that they sailed through the Southern Hemisphere winter, such as it is, or their summer in Brazil with their other 52. So they arrived in Puerto Portals very much on song, as it were, and they're really going well just now. Eduardo Plas is the owner, driver, helmsman. The tactician is Sam Albrecht, of course, a double Olympian for Brazil in the 49er and the NACRA, I think, from memory.
You can also see the kite trimmer and the helmsman standing very close together on the downwind. It's almost a kite trimmer that is completely driving the boat. He's telling, the guys on the front how, to shift their weight. He's telling the driver 1 degree up, 1 degree down. As a kite trimmer, it's all down to intuition, and you are, with your voice, you're basically driving the whole boat, and everyone is reacting to you. So it's something that needs a lot of feeling.
And that's Gustavo Teasing, who's the spinnaker trimmer. But a primarily Brazilian boat. 2 Argentinians on board: Diego Garay, who's in the pit, and Gonzalo Vertes, who's the main trimmer. Otherwise, everybody is from Brazil, all from the same club, I think. And Many 52 Super Series fans will remember Ricardo Costa, who was originally the navigator on the Onda with Eduardo de Souza Ramos. Anyway, the Crioula going really well. If anything, opened up a little bit of extra distance on Platoon, do you think?
Yeah, difficult to say. I think Platoon was sailing a little bit higher, maybe not necessarily, probably going the same speed, but just the Crioula did a really nice job of pushing that depth, and it's given them the ability to point straight at the mark, whereas Platoon will, have to think about what they do in this mark rounding.
Anyway, Paprick, Regatta leaders holding firm in third Alpha Plus, strengthening their hand, will be moving up the leaderboard a little bit more in that fourth. Privetza going much, much better. Again, this result should elevate them on the leaderboard. But a nice drop then from Crioula, Momo.
Yeah, good drop. I mean, you had all the time in the world to prepare that drop, so you've got the time to get everyone ready and to have soft movements on the boat. It's not hectic, and dropping early enough to have a nice rounding in this case. So very nice job from them.
And what about Platoon Aviation? Then?
Yeah, they just came in a little higher and they've had to do another jibe. I think they're still going to go probably around the same mark. But yeah, 2 jibes will just give Crioula even more space on the upwind.
And what about the approach then from Paprick behind Katie?
Yeah, Paprick's got quite a nice approach coming in. They've got to bear in mind Alpha Plus, who will have room on them around this mark if they are close enough inside. But hopefully, I think they'll probably be hoping that they can just get a little bit ahead, potentially a late drop from Paprick, just to make sure they are clear of Alpha Plus, and then get a good rounding.
So Paprick coming through now in third. Nicely set up, and you see Alpha Plus coming in with the late drop and trying to get inside. Not quite getting there, Momo, are they?
Not quite.
There's a flag there.
Flag there. Navigator jumping on the handles and having to do the navigating and having to pull the penalty flag. It's definitely a lot to do.
Interesting. I wonder whether there was a penalty there. I'm not sure. Just we saw Privetza moving away just a little bit, altering their course. But yeah, it does look a bit like Privetza might have got a penalty there. Do you think?
Yeah, it could be. It's always very difficult to. Yeah, they have got a penalty. They're doing the penalty turn there. That's definitely very painful for them because they did a nice job on the upwind and the downwind.
And so that is to the gain to Alkedo at that mark. They came around just behind Alpha Plus and Privetza. So Privetza losing out at that mark rounding. I mean, that's tough because Alpha Plus were always coming in there. Were always going to have rights, weren't they?
Yeah, but as we're going to see more of, these mark roundings with 15 boats are challenging, and especially if you're in the middle of the fleet, a lot of boats will be coming in at the same time. You
can't afford to just sit down and leave the door open, can you?
And this will really put the drivers under pressure, because at this point things start getting hectic. You're trying to get the kite dropped, it gets loud on the boat, and then the tactician just having very clear instructions to the driver what to do. And in many cases, the driver, having the experience to know where to put the nose of the boat is the difference between getting a penalty, hitting another boat, or going through cleanly.
Indeed. Teasing machine in 8th, 9th, no way back, 10th, Vayu. So a little bit of progress for no way back, but it's proving to be a very, very engaging race, Katie, isn't it? Especially in the body of the fleet.
Much more open than the other days. Much more opportunity, I think, for gains and losses. Interestingly, the left was super strong in the last upwind, but the breeze has actually shifted right. So the breeze, the windward mark has been moved 10 degrees to the right, which might be why we saw all of the boats going around that left-hand mark, looking downwind, as opposed to trying to get out to the left-hand side upwind. So yeah, potentially there's a bit more pressure on this left-hand side on the last upwind, but I think much more open race course, and we're going to see a lot more spread in the fleet, and there's going to be a lot more kind of boats picking their way through the fleet with various different strategies. So it'll be an interesting one to watch.
Indeed, but Crioula quite comfortable. Let's have a quick look at the projected standings. I think this is a key race in the championship at the moment. You really have to be in the top 4, top 5. I think if you're considering a chance of winning the championship title, and Platoon Aviation then making a strong charge behind Paprec. So Paprec on 24, 3 points ahead of Platoon Aviation. Alkedo Vitamina moving up to third on 29 for No Way Back. Alpha Plus in fifth on 32 also for Sled. And then that gap of 9 points to Vayu. You'd have to think, really looking ahead to who might win the championship, you'd expect them to be in from that top 6, Momo, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. They're a strong contender. Just looking back at the race course, I think Crioula did a nice move, not going out all the way to the right, and now they're just covering. This is where kind of the tactician and his fleet race experience shines, staying between staying between the mark and your competitors, not letting anyone go to a side and get anything that you might not be able to get yourself.
Interesting. Alkedo seem to have got themselves through Paprec, Momo, don't they?
Yeah, no, a strong performance from them, and I think this, yeah, as you can see, this shifts around the overall leaderboard a little bit as well.
And No Way Back seem to have got themselves a little bit further up the fleet. A couple of good shifts, Katie, maybe.
Yeah, I think the boats out on this left-hand side actually appear to be making gains. I think it's always so hard when it is a slightly more open race course and you have committed to a side a bit more. It's always hard to let your competitors go to the other side, because you're kind of like, how do you defend when everyone's so split? And I think that's what the top 3 boats will be thinking, is they're trying to defend their place, but also the fleet's completely split around them, and you can't control what's happening on the other side of the race course. But yeah, I think for me, it's just about picking what side of the beat you're wanting to go up, and trying to win that side of the beat and really make the most of that side, because you can't control what's on the other side.
But certainly patience a virtue for the No Way Back team, considering how they were relatively deep early on and just chipping away, battling through the fleet. It's very, very dynamic in that group, isn't it, at the moment?
They also completely stayed out of the action at the leeward gate, and you can see, penalty flags flying, having to do 2 more jibes to get in down there. And No Way Back did exactly the opposite. They stayed out of it, picked the right-hand gate, did a nice mark rounding, and went out to the side that they wanted.
Dude, so No Way Back climbing through the fleet progressively, but there's a lot of racing still to go in this race 5, isn't there?
No, definitely. Still a long way to go, and halfway up the beat. I think there's still quite a few opportunities to capitalize on this upwind.
Gladiator pushing out to the right, so a little bit. Provezza then, that has cost them, isn't it? They're down to 8th now, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the power of a penalty. I mean, the golden rule is just not to get one, and even if that means sailing around the back of a boat or staying away from these tight situations, a penalty is really, really going to hurt you in this fleet.
And to be on board with Paprec then. Shipping away, they're having a bit of a battle with Alpha Plus now, aren't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and they've got Platoon to windward of them. But yeah, you see the jib trimmer sitting down to leeward. He's focusing, on getting the perfect trim. I think sometimes it's just worth having the jib trimmer's weight inside and not hiking on the rail, but then therefore, getting the perfect trim in this situation.
So Provezza and No Way Back close there.
Yeah, coming together prevents a no way back, and no way back being bounced out to the left.
But all in all, great conditions. We're more than halfway up the second beat, race 5 here at the ROLEX TP52 World Championship here in Porto CERVO. We've had 2 great days of racing. We're into a third one, and Paprec in 4th in this race are the Regatta leaders. Alpha Plus, strong day yesterday, continuing their form largely, and Platoon Aviation strengthening their challenge for a fourth world title. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it, Momo, for Platoon Aviation?
No, I think the consistency pays here, and they've just been slowly climbing up the leaderboard, and it really shows to the strength of that team that they can just stick at it, and then having a race in between with a second place it just already kicks you up the leaderboard.
It is. It's absolutely thrilling. Look at Alpha Plus. Day 1 they were really struggling, and day 3 there they are in 3rd on the leaderboard. But this is going to be any team which wins this world title come Saturday will be so well deserved from this fleet.
Yeah, you can see Crioula doing a nice job on the right. They felt comfortable enough to, then just go out to ley line, tack on where they placed the ley line, and now head to the top mark.
It's a nice tack from Platoon Aviation. You're saying just so important to swing the boat down.
Yeah,
the power on.
Well, you could see that. So some boats choose to do the traveler on the rear pedestal, but in this case, Platoon have decided to make the runner winches run on the pedestal. There are pros and cons to everything, but in Platoon's case, it means that you can just get up to those desired runner tension numbers quicker, and runner tension means a better, less force they sag and just speed.
We're back on board with Alkedo Vitamina. With sled tacking into their lee bow, they're going to have to respond to that, aren't they?
Yeah, in this mode, just pushing the nose up a little, sailing a high mode, and from here trying to survive. Every bit of depth that sled uses, you have to use as well to gain speed. But from this angle, it looks like a difficult position to hold for Alkedo.
So it's all on what? It's all on the helmsman, isn't it?
All on the helmsman, and if sled is far enough ahead, it is just a strong position to tack in, and that's exactly why you do that move. It needs a very well placed tack and a good speed build. But for Alkedo, just doing what you're doing, but if you have a boat like sled below you, who will be also very strong, it's just a matter of how long you can survive.
So Katie, how's this top, or the approach to this second windward mark looking? Crioula, comfortable ley line?
Yeah, pretty nice ley line from Crioula actually, especially from that far out. I think they should be just kind of one and in. And then you've got Platoon and Paprec pretty close behind. It looks like Platoon's gained a bit of distance on Paprec, and maybe Alpha Plus again might be ahead of Paprec. We'll just see where they manage to tack in. But yeah, all the boats kind of starting to rack up on this line here. Potentially a slightly skinny ley line from Crioula, just from where I'm sat, they're going to have to go quite high. Maybe even, as I said that, they're double tacking up.
As you said that.
Actually pretty costly, yeah.
They're obviously listening, Katie.
A bit of an, yeah, well, they must be listening. Got like a direct line to my commentary. Yeah, double tack, potentially a bit costly, but I actually wonder if there's just been a shift, because Platoon, who's actually just tacked, is now absolutely not making the mark. So I think there's just been quite a big left shift in here, which might play quite nicely to the boats that have gone out to that left-hand side and are going to be coming in.
Interesting. It's changing all the time, isn't it? Just when you think there's one thing happening, then that little shift coming through. But that's costing Platoon Aviation a little bit, isn't it? They're just out of phase with the momentarily.
Yeah, I think they literally just tacked as it hit, which is, 2 extra tacks, super costly. If they'd have managed to get that ley line right the first time, then they could have really gained on Crioula and be right on their hip. But as it is, I think Crioula got a little bit lucky with that one and have still maintained their gap at the front.
So is Crioula going round the windward mark, second windward mark of the day, with the lead they've led all the way through this race so far? It will be Platoon Aviation, who have also been second each mark so far, round in third. And then it's between Paprec and Alpha Plus. Great work from the Brazilian team. But talk to us about the next boats coming round, Katie. Paprec looking good, and Alpha Plus will just be ahead, I think.
Yeah, Paprec looking pretty good. They've got a little bit of a gap behind them to Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus managed to overtake Paprec and again got quite a nice gap back to Paprec, who I think should be in a pretty comfortable 4th place. And then you're going to have probably quite a big pack behind them, so they're all going to should be adhering to Momo's golden rule of penalties, which is not to get one, which I think should also be put on a t-shirt. So yeah, you've got no way back trying to tack in on that port ley line underneath Alkedo. Hopefully no infringements, but we'll see how this mark rounding goes.
But they've done a really, really nice job on this upwind, fighting their way back into 5th position, I believe.
No way back, have yes.
Yeah, 6th position. Yeah.
Certainly in contention there. They'll be challenging Sled, I think it is, just in front of them, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, Sled going around now, no way back, and Alkedo behind them.
So Sled have done quite well as well in these in that upwind. Alkedo not so good.
Yeah, no way back, actually getting a penalty there from Alkedo.
Just as you were saying, the golden rule, Katie. Yeah, so no way back getting a penalty there by the looks of things.
Yeah, they broke Momo's number 1 rule. We'll have to have words with him on the shore, I reckon, because unacceptable. But yeah, I think
I'm quite keen to watch that and film that if you don't mind, Katie. You can tell Terry.
Yeah, I don't know how that would go down.
Just write it on a t-shirt and give it to him.
But that is a cracking idea. Yeah, I think potentially just 2 places lost, but it's still a costly mistake. Could have been worse, but very much didn't need to be doing that there.
Every place, every point is precious on this 52 Super Series, and not least in this ROLEX TP52 World Championship. But things looking good for Platoon Aviation in particular, and Paprec. Paprec's super solid other than that first race. But one of the things which is fascinating for me about the French team, Momo, is they were so good in the big breezes, the big waves, the big winds in Cascais, and certainly proving they're not one-trick ponies.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways here. Is an offshore team is might shine in the boat handling, but then having the kind of the sensitivity and the feeling to also sail these boats and the light stuff makes for a really all-rounded team.
That's absolutely hitting the nail on the head there, because that's what Loic said yesterday. Was his exact word was clairvoyant. He's able to look ahead, and he said he had a great feeling yesterday for the race course, sailing very intuitively, in touch, in tune with the breeze, and he said that made all the difference compared to how they'd been previously. And I think that feeling is continuing, and they're really going very, very nicely. Sled in 5th, keeping up their challenge. No way back in 6th. And Crioula looking pretty steady then. This should be the race win, Katie, shouldn't it?
That sounds like a commentator's curse waiting to happen. But yes.
You got to tempt it. You got to tempt it.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I think hopefully, unless they have some kind of absolute equipment major, then you'd think so. You've got the whole fleet just kind of following them out to this right-hand side downwind, so they're going to be looking back pretty happy with that. constantly checking for when the boats behind them start jibing, and then I anticipate they're probably going to try and go with them or just before, just to kind of cover their backs. But yeah, for me, if I was on board, I'd be pretty comfortable with how the situation's unfolding.
Good, so let's wait and see. Platoon in second, Alpha Plus third, Paprec in fourth. Here's a little competition for the sailing geeks out there. Post your answer on social media and we'll make sure you get a goodie. But there's two principal connections between Juan Villa, on the navigator on Platoon Aviation, and Loic Perron, the tactician on board Paprec. Give me two connections and you'll win a great Super Series prize from our clothing sponsor Zeke. So I want two particular connections. Any takers?
Well, I've just looked at your notes, so
You're not allowed to do that.
yeah, I could maybe get a nice.
That was one, but I mean, that was me just double checking. I knew that for a fact, but anyway, keep your mouth shut. But that, I say, we've got our new clothing sponsor this year, Zeke, and I'm quite sure they'll be very happy to give you some Super Series swag if you can give us that answer on any of our social media channels. And especially if you can get it done before the end of this race. But Loic Perron, with so many honours over his long career, 67 years old now, and he has the energy of a 27-year-old, but with that huge experience.
I mean, Alpha Plus have also been sailing just a very, very strong race. To keep this up and to be in third position right now is really, really good on them.
And Sled have just been chipping away, really. There were 6 at the top mark first time up. Race 5, largely holding that position. They're just ahead. And I think it'll be interesting to have heard the language on the coach boat with James Line and Co on the No Way Back coach boat. I think they'll not be best pleased about that outcome, although I'm in an 8th. If they can get into the top half of the fleet before the finish line, if they can get through Preveza, then that would be at least be a little bit of damage limitation. But having gotten themselves a few more places up the table, we'd love to be adhering to the law of averages, the Terry Hutchison law of averages. Anyway, all credit to the Brazilian team on Crioula at the moment. But great to see, great to see Platoon Aviation. They've had many problems in terms of boat speed over the last couple of years, pretty much since the boat is new. But they seem to be have things dialed in now, Momo, don't they?
Yeah, I was talking to Michi Müller, and he said, having Jordi Califat on the boat, having the sail designer that designs your sails, sailing with you, is worth a lot. You can just.
That's one of the points last year for people who maybe aren't following it so closely. Jordi missed a few regattas last year, was still involved with the team, but that was a big loss to them.
But there's just a big difference between having the trimmer there and he can, make the changes that he's seeing himself. And all these boats will have a constant dialogue with the sail designer, but just the changes will come slower if you don't have the sail designer on the boat looking into the actual sails.
And I know that Jordi is an absolute perfectionist, sees things in very much in black and white terms. He's saying they still had to get faster. He did actually told me just before the regatta they still felt they were a little bit faster in one tack than the other. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah, we said yesterday, but keel fin number 4, they're definitely not shy to try new things out, and I think they've come to a point where they're relatively happy with the boat, and you can see that in the results that they're just starting to feel more comfortable and clawing their way up the leaderboard.
Well, let's have a quick look at the projected points table before we get to this finish line. Hopefully Crioula doing themselves some good, but there would still be a 3-point lead for Paprec, for the French team, if positions stay the same. sled would be third. Alpha Plus strengthening their challenge. I think, a top 5 for Alpha Plus here would be a great result for them. But podium contenders, Alkedo Vitamina, podium contenders, no way back. Finished on the podium in Puerto Portals. But a comfortable lead there, Momo, for Crioula, isn't there?
Yeah, they just did it really perfectly. I think on the second upwind, they covered the fleet for a while and then decided to do their own thing. And I think it was a good judgment call to play a little safe and tack back on the other boats behind you, and then go for the ley line when you're ready to do so.
Just looking at positions, where's the pinch points? Who can make gains in the top 7, top 8 just now into this finish line, do we think?
It's difficult, Amal. You've got this group of, No Way Back and Prevetsa and Alkedo very close to each other, but there's not a lot left in this race. But it's probably really depending on, how good you can make your last drive.
Fantastic images then. It's almost like virtual reality, isn't it, with our drones nowadays. And Crioula then, the Brazilian team, say they won one race in Puerto Portals. Just took over this boat a couple of years ago as the formerly Prevetsa, a very, very well sorted boat, and they're sailing extremely well. They'll come through for their first race here in Porto Cervo, race number 5 of the World Championship. Winning off the pin end on the left of the first upwind, Momo, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a few goes at practicing this pin end start. Having one yesterday, which wasn't so good, but practice made perfect, and today they executed it really well.
I have to laugh, isn't it funny? It's towards where we are now in the sport when you've got guys at the back of the boats, cheering into the drone camera. It's just like they know what's going on. It's wonderful. I absolutely love it. Considering the old days when you put a helicopter up at $1,000 an hour or whatever. Now we have drones watching absolutely everything. But good race, a real confidence booster for Platoon Aviation. I kind of have a sense that this could be a key race for them, just in that terms, just building confidence, getting a little bit of momentum going. Platoon Aviation have always finished the World Championships strong. Maybe this could be number 4, but it's going to be a fascinating second half to this regatta. And coming through the line now, another team which are getting a little bit of momentum, KT Alpha Plus, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they've done a really nice job today. I think coming off the back of kind of winning the day yesterday, it's going to be a hard one to kind of probably manage expectations, and completely different day out here. So it's like, how do we recreate that? And they've done a super nice job of that, kept it kind of really simple, kept out of trouble, and just, raced super well. So hopefully we'll see more of that again in the next race.
I think when you have the experience of Ian Moore and guys like that, Craig Monk, Ian and Ado, the great thing is the rest of the team really put their confidence in them, knowing they've won or what they've won over the previous years in so many different classes, and that really puts them in good stead, just raises their game, keeps them consistent. Anyway, Paprec coming through in 4th, Sled get 5th, keeping up their charge. Alkedo Vitamina, they were a little bit further up the leaderboard, in the race leaderboard at one point, but 6th for them. Once again, Momo, it'll do. It's a counter, you would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Solid, consistent. No shockers in the leaderboard.
And then Prevetsa through in 7th. Terry not best pleased, I think you could safely say, with that result.
No, yeah, that penalty up there was unnecessary, and he'll definitely be a bit annoyed about that.
Anyway, and just behind then Vayu, a little bit under the radar in that race. So unfortunately, if they're going to maintain that average that they want, No Way Back are going to have to win the next race. Momo, aren't they?
Yeah. But yeah, gold rule. Don't get any penalties.
Just as Katie was saying that, and they got a penalty. Anyway, Teasing machine through in 10th, 11th. Allegre. Still that dynamic at the back of the boat settling in. Afterguard now, John Costecchi, Luke Patience and Francesco Mongelli. New dynamic, new trio, new afterguard. And then Trinity Racing. It's going to be a steady climb for them through the fleet. I think that maybe expectations a little heightened after some successes in Puerto Portals. But it's a long way to the top, as they say, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean Trinity had a really good day yesterday, and yeah, shame they've had a bit of a difficult race here, but let's hope they can reset and do a bit better in the next race.
The fleet starting to spread out quite a lot now, unfortunately then. It's a tough day at the Gladiator office then. Food for thought. I think that unfortunately that start off the boat end of the line didn't really work for them, and then a few other problems, Katie.
Yeah, I mean they very much executed their plan. I think it was quite interesting actually that the boat that won the boat end and the boat that won the pin end, they were exact opposite ends of the fleet. It's quite interesting. I think, yeah, I mean Gladiator rounded the top mark kind of somewhere in the mix, and then I think maybe just took a couple too many risks, trying to kind of make bigger, gain back more places at a time than maybe the conditions called for. I think it's probably more of a chipping away boats one by one rather than trying to do something really risky, because heading all the way back out to that right hand side on that second upwind I think really cost them quite a lot, especially with that left hand shift we saw at the very top. That was kind of the nail in the coffin for them, but hopefully they'll be having conversations about how they can reset, reassess the kind of day it is, reassess priorities and come back fighting, as they often do.
What did we learn about the breeze then, Katie, in that race?
I think we can learn that it's an absolutely completely different day to yesterday and the day before. I think it's not as settled as we kind of maybe thought it was going to be. There definitely is some shifts about the place and there is differences in pressure. I'd potentially maybe think it would settle slightly more as the day went on, maybe. But yeah, I think there's plenty of opportunity and it's not quite as cut and dry as it was yesterday with just heading out to one side. I think it's going to be a much trickier day, and I think it's going to be much more about sailing what you're in and kind of tacking on the shifts and really kind of managing the fleet around you as well.
From that perspective, we asked this question the other day. We've got a little bit of time in hand. We know that the breeze certainly the breeze is forecast to build as it did yesterday. Does Maria wait a little bit of time and wait for the breeze to come in, or do we just crack on?
I mean, if the breeze is in, then she normally cracks on. She's pretty good, to be fair. If it is unfair racing or if it is getting close to unfair racing and the forecast is good, she is pretty happy to hold for a bit. But I would anticipate we roll into the next one relatively quickly. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. It's still very much fair racing. It's just really difficult, which is just sailboat racing, and that's why we've got so many incredible kind of tacticians and incredible sailors on the boats is for days like this. So I think she's going to roll straight on.
Fabulous. Then look at the leaderboard after 5 races, midway through a 10-race World Championship. Paprec on top, as indeed they were in Cascais last year. at one point, led into the final day, I think. Platoon Aviation in second, 27 points for them, 2 points behind the 3 times world champions. 2021 world champion Sled poised in third on 29 points. 30 points for Alpha Plus. Look at that scoreline, 2-1-3 after the pair of 12s in the first day. The team from Hong Kong going well. Alkedo, Vitamina steady over the last couple of races in fifth. No way back then, a pair of 8ths and 31 points challenging Trinity Racing. Actually, you know, for all that, they're mid-fleet just ahead of mid-fleet. Vayu also in 40 points. Pravetsa, that's 7th, helping them a little bit in 9th. Allegre 10th. Crioula, that win taking them up to 11th, but there's a real points logjam between 10th, let's say, and 13th. And Teasing Machine then 12th, Gladiator 13th, Caballo Loco 14th, and Vudu are newcomers in 15th. That's our points table after 5 races. Join us again in a few minutes as we go into the second half of the ROLEX TP52 World Championship 2026.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
See, I've been thinking a million things I want to say. Now I'm looking in your eyes, but I'm wandering to your lips. See, I'm trying to keep it cool while I'm hovering for the kiss. 'Cause I've been needing you like old-fashioned on a slice, sweet like daiquiri with strawberry crushed ice. Know you like a margarita with the hot spice. Love the taste of paradise. No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you. Took your number from a friend, but I never called. I never called. I never called. I started writing a DM, didn't sleep at all. Not awake that night. And every time I go out, I'm looking around to see you there. Where are you? And my heart skips beating when your perfume's in the air. 'Cause I've been needing you like old-fashioned on a slice, sweet like daiquiri with strawberry crushed ice. Know you like a margarita with the hot spice. Love the taste of paradise. No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you. No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you. Thinking of you. Yeah, I'll be thinking of you. There's nothing else I can do. So I'll be thinking of you. 'Cause I've been needing you like old-fashioned on a slice, sweet like daiquiri with strawberry crushed ice. I know you like your margaritas with the hot spice, and love the taste of paradise. No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you. No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you. friend of a friend told me you're moving on. Wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm really not. You were never one for new ones. Couldn't recognize a good thing till it was gone. Did you always see me as replaceable? We think your damage to me was collateral. Well, if I'm being honest and rational, watching you walk out felt natural. Thought we were written in the stars, I had last dreams and tarot cards. I try to find a remedy for broken hearts, but I know now losing you is my fresh start. To think I've got a degree in making myself smaller for you, and I mastered the art of waiting on your every move. Thank God you're gone, get out. So long to think I ever believed I had to make myself smaller for you. You always thought you were the center of the universe, but baby, you lied to, you never weren't. You're not the last and you're not the first. Don't open your mouth, you make things worse. To think I've got a degree in making myself smaller for you, and I mastered the art of waiting on your every move. Thank God you're gone, get out. So long to think I ever believed I had to make myself smaller for you. Even on a good day close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone. Or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Why you look surprised when we've done this all before? I'm not sure the highs really make up for the lows. When words don't work and I get hurt somehow, I feel like I'm the worst. Manipulation overload, but babe, this time I'll steal the show. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone. Or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone. Or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Stop drumming on my heart. Stop drumming on my heart. Out of sync and out of touch, and maybe even out of love. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. Got me black and blue, making me want.
I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable. I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable.
Well, there we go. Breeze still in, nice and settled. Great conditions for this race. Number 6 of the ROLEX TP52 World Championship. We're past the halfway mark. Paprec, the French team, still on top by just a couple of points, I think it is. But conditions looking still just as good, just as exciting and fabulous racing, Katie.
Yep, absolutely the same as it was last race, pretty much. Maybe 5 degrees further right, but I think we're going to see a very similar race this time to last time. Heaps of opportunities, much more open race course, and it's going to be a big thinking race for all of the afterguards on these boats.
Momo, a thinking race, a real cerebral challenge, this racing here, isn't it? And this, particularly today.
Yeah, in the last race you had, Crioula and Platoon starting on very opposite sides of the line, but ending up first and second. So, brains definitely smoking, and not as simple as the days before.
Indeed. So looking at the points table, as I say, is Paprec just with that 2-point lead. Platoon Aviation poised, only 2 points ahead of Sled. Alpha Plus 2-1-3, great trio of races back to back for the team from Hong Kong. Alkedo Vitamina in 5th on 31 also for No Way Back. I think Smarting, after that penalty, lost them 2 places on the final upwind. Trinity Racing, I have to say, pretty solid for a new team in 7th in a 15-boat fleet. I think they can be pretty happy with that. Vayu in 8th, Prevetsa 9th, Allegra 10th, Crioula 11th, Teasing Machine 12th, 13th Gladiator 14th, Caballo Loco and Vudu in 15th. But Momo, what incredible strength and depth in this fleet, isn't there?
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the leaderboard there, no way back, 2 points behind, exactly the 2 points that they lost in the penalty. And that's the difference between 6th place and 3rd place right now. So all to play for.
Indeed, and Terry Hutchison, we saw as he came through the finish line, he really was quite upset at having lost these 2 hard-earned places, 2 hard-earned points, and let's see whether they can pull off a bullet just to maintain their target average, always 4 points a race. And they need to win this one, but it's going to be a really tight, compact start line, isn't it, Momo?
Yeah, definitely tight, compact. You see some teams setting up a little earlier than others. I guess it's good because you'll have a position from the beginning. It does make you open for an attack, and you do have to respond, to boats behind you. You'll see other boats lining up later than others, so no way back. Still crossing the fleet behind on port and looking for their position. It gives you the ability to choose your position late and be a bit more adaptable. But in a fleet of 15 boats, you might never find a very good gap.
But Katie, it's interesting to see some boats just always want to start at one end or the other, isn't it? 50 seconds to go.
Yeah, I mean, Gladiator, the exact example of that. They either want to start as the most weather boat at the boat end or as the most pin boat at the pin end, and they've completely reversed it from the last race, and they've now gone for the pin end of the boat, whereas you have other kind of boats that really like the middle, and I think No Way Back and Sled are both those 2 teams that actually are really, really strong in the middle of the line and quite good at fighting for their gaps, creating a gap and then getting off the line quite strong.
20 seconds to go, a couple of boats quite far forward on the line, Momo, you'd have to think. Sled potentially being one of them. Vayu, I think it is. And for me, Alkedo quite far forward, potentially over the line, just dipping back in the final seconds. It's going to be interesting. Paprec jumping the gun, I think. Let's see, we may be having an individual recall, or let's see. Yeah, Paprec, then the regatta leaders jumping the start gun, having to come back. That is expensive, Katie, isn't it?
So expensive. I think any penalties, any kind of, an OCS, super expensive because the fleet is so tight anyway, and you give away any meters at any of these points and it's so costly. I think the only saving grace here is that you have got kind of a few boats that are coming back. You've got, Paprec and Alkedo, both 2 of the super strong teams in this race, or in this regatta so far. So at least they're in it together. But we'll see. There is heaps of opportunities on this race course still, so there is ways to pick back through the fleet, but it's not the best start from them.
That's really a heavy penalty for Paprec. A big problem for them. Just seem to have got themselves some nice momentum. But Momo, the fleet was moving forwards, and in that situation, you have to go with the boats round about you, don't you?
Yeah, you have to go with the boats. You obviously don't want to be the boat with the nose furthest forward. Yeah,
it was Alkedo that went first, really, wasn't
exactly, it? Exactly, but and it just puts you in a difficult position. They were very close to the boat below, and it's then virtually impossible to build the speed. And I think they just bore away a little too early, built the speed, and then were nose forward. But yeah, very nice start from Gladiator. Beautiful pin end start and very fast off the line.
Katie, how do you see this start then? There we see Gladiator in the foreground, Guillermo Parada on the helm, Victor Diaz de Leon just grinding on a little bit more runner, and the nicely set up. You can see there the black and yellow Bumblebee stripes of bow number 1. No Way Back. Alpha Plus seem to have got themselves a decent start there by the looks of things, Momo.
Yeah, they're definitely in the mix. Just going back to what I was talking about, the start, Crioula had a bit of a difficult time at the start because they just couldn't really find a gap. And this in a fleet of 15 boats and the line not being too long, that just can be the danger of setting up quite late.
So No Way Back, a slightly lower risk, good start, middle of the fleet. They're just pretty much middle of the upwind, Katie, aren't they?
Yeah, not too dissimilar to where they were kind of last race. They were kind of in the middle of the fleet and then somehow managed to work their way back. I'd be kind of wary if I was them of getting stuck kind of ping-ponging between boats and having to put in a lot of manoeuvres. So I think I would be thinking about trying to really make sure that when I did make a decision to tack, and when I did kind of make that call, I'd be really committing to it and trying not to engage in all the boats around me. But yeah, they've looked to me like they're in a pretty strong position at the moment on port. They've not got any kind of boats to contend with for now, and they've got a really good lane, so they can just sail in a really fast mode here and then hopefully kind of pop out at the front.
Gladiator then our early leader on that left side. Platoon Aviation a little bit similar in terms of their strategy and positioning to last race, Mo, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think No Way Back and Platoon always go for a very similar strategy. They try to find the gap late on. It always speaks for a helmsman that's experienced, going into the start a bit later and then just looking for a gap on the fly. But yeah, both of them kind of going off the middle of the line, conservative, in the pack, not too far back, not too far forward. Yeah.
So what's the conversation with Arm just now then between his tactician and the main sheet trimmer?
Yeah, I think kind of moding, looking around at the boats. They're not really under pressure, so they're probably just talking about setup. I think you have 1 to 2 knots more than the beginning of the last race, so you're ever changing your setup. Maybe even in between the races, kind of looking at your mast setup, how much rig tension you've got. But whilst you're racing, there are some things you can't change, like your mast setup. So you're working with obviously the main sheet, the runner, and the jib sheet.
Provetza there in the foreground, having to tack away or just tacking away while they can. They've got a nice open lane waiting. Gladiator wait for a little bit of time, but certainly the right side seems to be slightly better according to the tracker just now. Platoon Aviation and Alpha Plus, Katie, on that right side. But Provetza in good breeze there, nicely powered up, and if anything, just maybe a little sniff of a lefty.
Yeah, the boats out on this left-hand side seem to be kind of, their speeds are pretty high. I mean, 8.4, 8.6 knots of these guys out on this side, but I think it's just kind of just bits of pressure coming down. You'll have that on both sides, and I do think we will still have a couple more shifts to come on this beat. I mean, on the last race, we saw that massive lefty as they were getting to the windward, so I wouldn't kind of write off another shift like that. And I think Gladiators committed very hard to this side, the opposite of what they did last time, and Teasing Machines committed very hard to the opposite side. They've gone really hard far right, so yeah, we'll see kind of which side gets the last good shift in, and I think that will very much dictate which side of the beat or which group of boats is going to come in ahead. Watching Gladiator then on this left side, certainly putting all their eggs in the left-hand basket.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely not shy of doing, aggressive calls, going all the way to the right in the last in the first upwind of the last race, and now going all the way to the left, but comfortably to the left. So let's see how it plays out. But I think, they're just there to win it, or
That's it.
Or not.
Indeed, you have to remember that the World Championship, which they won in Newport, Rhode Island, they very much had a formula, starting generally off the pin and winning the World Championship with a very consistent strategy. Meantime, Platoon Aviation looking good there, aren't they? Nice high fast mode for the meantime.
Yeah, and Alpha Plus again finding themselves in a really nice position. They're really taking advantage of the confidence that you get by doing well in these races.
Trinity Racing in the mix in fourth. Alpha Plus then. Interesting, just slightly to weather off and they're slightly closer to the windward mark, I think. Paprec fighting back in 12th just now. They've got a long way to go in terms of positions. Need to try and keep clear air where they are, but they've got work to do, haven't they? They're not as bad as Alkedo Vitamina, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, they've on the tracker at least they're 12th and have gained a few positions. Definitely better than being stone cold last.
But I also quite like the position of No Way Back, just there in that leading that little group.
I feel like we always see them in the middle on the first upwind. It's kind of,
Yeah, it's very much, they have a strategy in terms of risk management. And that's, as you say, it speaks to a team which are confident with their speed. They know they can get themselves out of positions or gain a position here and there, not having to push the risk strategically. There we go, on board with Vayu. They're telling me it's Don Whitcraft's birthday today.
yes, yeah. I think 32. But yeah, I think they had a tough day yesterday. I talked to them this morning, but you know, the mood wasn't down. You know, it happens in this fleet, and you just gotta learn from what you did yesterday, but also forget it and go into the new day with your head up, held high.
Indeed, sled in the mix too. This is proving to be a very, very exciting and close first upwind. Quite open. Gladiator on our foreground in 6th. Furthest to the left, Provezza in the mix, just a leeward of Gladiator. Now then, what's Cameron Appleton? What's his strategy from there? What can he do? Doesn't want to be just bounced about behind the fleet, do you?
No, I think Katie said a great thing yesterday. You know, do the next right thing, and I hate to take that quote from her now, but yeah, looking for the opportunities. There are opportunities out there, and you just kind of put yourself in a position where the opportunities come to you and where you can actually take them, and maybe not always just following all the other boats.
But amazing, just how this first upwind's evolving, Katie, isn't it? Little places changing here and there. Alpha Plus tacking now. Patrick just behind.
Yeah, pace is changing all the time, and just been watching Platoon. They tacked back kind of earlier on to starboard, and they've had to take their angle wasn't the best coming back. I mean, Alpha Plus and No Way Back both managing to cross Platoon, so that makes me wonder if actually whether that left-hand side is kind of coming in a bit stronger. But Alpha Plus and No Way Back both looking pretty strong for me. It's just whether that left gets stronger and stronger as we go up the beat, or whether whether being punched out kind of in the middle of the fleet is the better place to be.
A little bit of brute force on the Vayu, getting the Traveller up there.
Yeah, if you decide to not do the Traveller with the rear pedestal, pulling it up by hand for the main trim can be quite difficult. So yeah, getting a grinder to just put his body weight into it helps a bit.
Anyway, Manu Weiler just talking to Don Whitcraft. Vayu are in 6th at the moment, but it's super tight there in the lead there, and we're seeing Alpha Plus electing to go behind the sled there. That's interesting. How do you interpret that?
Well, they probably
Just want to hold their position.
interesting call. I mean, you only do that when you really want to hold your position, and they probably saw sled coming and knew that sled would have tacked below them and they would have tacked out. So I guess, yeah, it's something you only do when you really, really want to go to not tack.
I think they're certainly pinning No Way Back a little bit there, aren't they, on that right, so to their left. But sled wriggling free, I think, starting to strengthen their position to go out almost to starboard ley line, tacking in front of Trinity, I think, just in the next few seconds. But certainly sled want to get right and own the right as early as possible, don't you think?
Absolutely, and I think they will try and hit, if they can get past Trinity, they will try and hit that ley line. But that ley line call is pretty important for them. It kind of determines whether they go around first or gets stuck in the mix.
So there we go. Trinity have to respond there, and the Axelsen there, the Andy Anderson, the big Swedish grinder. However, Katie sled with the early lead, No Way Back second, Gladiator third, fourth, depending. Who do you think is going to make it to this windward mark first, Katie?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think, sled looking quite strong for me. I think no way back in Alpha Plus, both of them in the middle of the fleet. If they could manage to tack back and kind of cross and tack back on a good shift, they've still got a little bit of a way to go on starboard before they get to that port hand ley line, so there's still opportunities for them. But yeah, it's going to be, I think this top windward mark and probably the first leeward mark are such pinch points in the race course because everyone is so close together. So you're going to be thinking from so far out about kind of anticipating who you're going to be getting to that windward mark with, what kind of position you want to put yourself in, and they're going to be thinking about it from all the way back here. They're going to be trying to position themselves for 2 manoeuvres ahead where they want to be going around that mark on the boats around them.
Indeed, you don't have to be a rocket science to see that 7 boats within 43 metres of each other ain't going to fit, is it?
No, it's not.
So it's really going to be, as Katie said, all about anticipation, all about not getting into the battles, staying out of the traffic, and really from that point of view I really like Sled's position, and also to a great extent Trinity Racing, Ed Baird, strong positioning to the right. No way back, to come in a little bit from the left, but it's going to be a time for cool heads, maximum focus, and really not pushing everything too hard at this stage. Momo, isn't that right?
Yeah, I think you can. You also see Paprec. They're still behind, but I think if you're behind here and you just stay out of it, there are definitely some places to be made here. They're just about to tack onto the right ley line.
And it's that kind of domino effect, isn't it? When you've got a starboard tacker and the 2 port tack boats go. Platoon Aviation just not quite able to impose themselves the way we first thought on this upwind. They're down in 7th, but it's really about thinking ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, and they
two moves ahead rather than trying to fight just with the boats round about you, isn't it?
Yeah, but you do always see kind of the same boats finding themselves in the infight and the same boats staying out of it, and I think Trinity is a good example of that. You rarely see them in a tacking contest with another boat.
But you do very often see them out on this early
exactly,
right, just with the starboard tack advantage. I think that's how Ed likes to position Trinity.
Also, just a good call for a driver that's new in the fleet, and that will benefit from having longer stretches of straight line sailing where he can match his numbers.
But really, all credit then to Murray Jones and the sled afterguard, Adam Bischel on the helm, Francesco Bruni. Leading around or coming into the windward mark, actually with a 40-metre lead. Just when they needed to put a good top 3 score on the board, the winners in Puerto Portales are strengthening their challenge. We were just starting to talk about Platoon Aviation a little bit, and Platoon in 8th, Sled fighting back with a little lead coming around this top mark, but just see how the fleet's setting up.
I think this shot you can see really nicely how the boom on Sled is all the way to windward past the center line, and it just shows you that you're pulling the boom so far to windwards so that you can kind of twist open the mainsail at the top without it then being too open. So it's a good example. Sled usually sail with definitely quite twisted sails. So it's a good point of view to see that.
Little bit of work to get up to that mark, but they should be fine. They've got clear air now. Let's watch No Way Back. Watch how they set up. It's a
tough spot.
Tough spot for them, and actually Alpha Plus will get away with this. I think No Way Back have threaded themselves through, and I think they'll be okay in the end. But Alpha Plus will get a boat between them and the windward mark, but actually Alpha Plus might get into trouble here if they're not got the speed and power to shoot the mark. This is going to be a test of precision helming from Nick Egnott Johnson. And Trinity Racing just to weather. I think they'll be quite fine, but losing a little bit of speed relative to Sled, who are properly launched across this first offset leg. So good work both from the Alpha Plus team and the Trinity Racing team. No way back, just living in their spot and coming round in fourth. But immaculate work from the Sled team, Momo.
Beautiful set on Sled as well. The aim is to almost have the jib down halfway until you can have set the kite.
Meantime, tough times for Gladiator and Alkedo, both getting stuck at the mark. Really getting themselves into a position where they're no power and having to bail out.
Oof, that's painful.
That is very painful for Gladiator and indeed for Alkedo. Vayu there at the back.
Yeah, Vayu also not finding a way in. They were definitely in the mix in the middle of the fleet there, but again, 15 boats coming to the top mark all together. Sometimes there is no way in, and you're going to have to go around the sterns of a lot of boats.
But look at that then. In seventh, who is it? The French and Paprec recovered into the top half of the fleet after being over the start line early. Now compare that with Alkedo Vitamina, who were made a little bit of a recovery, but then just could not get themselves round the top mark in the traffic, underpowered. But this is incredible racing with this 15-boat fleet, isn't it, Katie? It's just so close and small mistakes. You're losing 3-4 boats at a time.
Yeah, there's like a boat, less than a boat length in between most of these boats, like all 15 of them. There is no gaps between them. It's pretty epic. And I think for me, actually, knowing that they're going to be that tight, I'd be asking the question actually whether coming in, whether like No Way Back, Alkedo and, Alpha Plus and Gladiator all coming in so high on that port ley line, to me that seems incredibly risky. It's going to be great or it's going to be really not great. And we saw Alkedo and Gladiator, they were both going, I think I was looking at the tracking, 3.5 knots at one point to try and get to that mark, and at that point you're basically just chopping woods. You're not going anywhere, and that makes it super hard. But it's such tight racing, and they're still even though they've drived around, they're still very much on the heels of the pack, and there is, as I said, less than a boat length between pretty much every single boat out here. So there's plenty of golf left in this hole.
There is indeed. I love the chopping wood expression. Anyway, Sled are back in the lead of the World Championship by 2 points by virtue of leading this race. Alpha Plus up there in second, Paprec in third, Platoon Aviation in fourth, but just 3 points separating first and fourth. No Way Back in fifth, and Trinity Racing up a place in sixth again. They'll be pretty happy with that as newcomers to the fleet. But a fabulous racing, just no room for error at all. But as Katie said, lots of golf left in this hole, and indeed the championship, Momo.
Yeah, no, definitely all to play for, but beautiful job from Sled. They did a really nice job on the upwind and then a clean maneuver at the front. I think you can always see with the good teams that every single maneuver they just do a bit better than the other teams, and it's always half a boat length that you gain at every mark, and that just builds up, and you can always see Sled kind of extending their lead often when they're at the front.
They're just incredible, just a little bit of a class apart a lot of the time are Sled at the moment. But that was really about just getting a good start and getting in a good position, which they managed to hold. And really in this fleet now, if they can just extend, they've got about 80 metres of a lead. Trinity Racing, and then the Trinity Racing actually got a little bit of a gap back to No Way Back. So what's Sled's strategy on this downwind, Katie?
I think they've actually had quite a tricky call to make there, because Alpha Plus jibed quite early down the run, and the rest of the fleet were kind of following sled out on starboard. So I think it was a tricky call whether to kind of go with them and let the fleet carry on, or whether to hold on a bit longer. They made the decision to hold on, and I think actually looking at the speeds of the boats, they've potentially got a little bit more pressure out on this side. So a good call from them potentially, and also I think they're thinking bigger picture, not just trying to engage in. I think Alpha Plus is basically trying to engage them in a fight, and Sled's like, nope, not today. I'm just going to race my own race. Thank you very much.
It's very,
which I think is
very
the wise
rare
move.
that you see Sled getting into any kind of boat for boat battle, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was Alpha Plus was kind of tempting them in, but that not having any of it.
Indeed, on board with Alpha Plus. Second, they're really having a really strong regatta so far after that first day. Lido Stead there, the tactician.
A very good job from them. They also seem to be pretty fast on that side. I think also interesting to see, you always see the helmsman standing up on the downwind. I think that gives most helmsmen, a bit of a better feeling. They're sitting down on the upwind, trying to really hold that tiller tight and reduce the movements. But on the downwind, they often prefer to stand. Just gives you, a bit better feeling, and you're really playing the heel and trying to get all the depth that you can. So standing up just makes you feel that heel coming on a bit earlier.
Interesting point. You get a much better contact with the boat and the dynamics of the boat, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick look at boat speeds. Alpha Plus are pretty quick there. It's all relative to what breeze you have on which part of the course, but Paprick look fast. Now the battle is between Paprick and Platoon. All the time for sure you want to finish in the top half of the fleet, but credit to the French team who were over the start line, getting themselves up to 6th just now, following Sled down this run. Big split in the fleet.
What you can also see here is on Paprick, the main trimmer kind of has trimmed this traveller to the center. This is quite an interesting point, a bit technical but interesting. The opinions are split on downwind main trim. It is definitely very, very important, and you'll see some main trimmers sailing with a bit more closed leech, like Paprick here. They've centered their traveller and have a bit more main sheet on. And then you'll see boats, like Alpha Plus just now, they had their traveller actually up to windward and a little less main sheet on and twisting off that mainsail more. And especially in the breeze, that makes even bigger difference. And it's kind of two different philosophies, and you'll see the main trimmers actually, doing different things here.
So same thing applies with Adam Bischel there on the helm of Sled, as you say, standing up, getting a feel for the boat, get a better feel for the wind pressure.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the numbers, but the numbers are always a little delayed. Your butt will tell you before whatever you see on the screens. And you can see him. He looks very concentrated because it is just. You just need to be fully in it, and you cannot really look away for any second or focus on what other boats are doing. That's totally the tacticians and the strategists' job.
It is entering the tactician and the strategist forward and to leeward.
Yeah,
with a reasonable vantage point.
I think on some boats the tacticians forget that they aren't made of air and that placing your weight in the correct position can help. Obviously, you have to look around and you're making the calls. So wherever you get the best vantage point is good for you. But I think it's also good not to always be chilling right at the back of the boat.
Yeah, interesting again. Different positioning from different strategists and tacticians, but Murray Jones and Francesco Bruni talking all together all the time. Nice quiet chat. And Murray Jones really an exceptional pair of eyes, an exceptional feeling for the breeze. But then Trinity Racing and Alpha Plus really quite close just now. Trinity coming back, or Trinity going out. Alpha Plus actually maybe made a little bit of a gain on sled, Katie, just a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, I think sled's still looking strong to me. Yeah, I think for everyone, so Alpha Plus and sled to me look like they've got a little bit out ahead. Trinity maybe been sucked back a little bit into the fleet. I'd be the same as the upwind. I'd be fully thinking about my entry into this downwind and how I want to position myself on the fleet. I would not want to be coming in between the gates, because then you have absolutely no rights. You have people that have room on you both sides, so that would be the worst position to come in on. So I'd be trying to get to an edge so that I could come in with rights and then hopefully get a good rounding, because how tight the fleet was at the windward marks, I'm fully expecting the lewards to be exactly the same.
But interesting then, sled and Alpha Plus actually quite close in that cross, Momo, weren't they?
Yeah, but I think sled doing exactly what Katie said, setting themselves up, to come into the bottom gate with room. So yeah, interesting call on them. But yeah, close cross, and definitely some little gains for Alpha Plus.
But a fabulous race and everything to play for. Patrick in 7th, the regatta leaders. We'll give a quick look in a few seconds at the projected standings. They're moving all the time, I think. But we'll get a look at that in a few seconds, hopefully. But in the meantime, super close between Alpha Plus and sled. But it's going to be about the choice of sides, really, and the approach to this leeward gate, Momo, isn't it, as much as anything?
Yeah, setting up nice and early, and not having to do 2 jibes right before the gate. It's also important. We saw that in the last race.
So that's the sled's advantage just now, though. Alpha Plus ahead on the water. They've got another jibe to go, haven't they?
Yes, yeah, but you see them, dropping the staysail, setting up the jib nice and early, kind of minimizing things that can go wrong, preparing early, double, triple checking, hopefully.
Pushing the main boom right out.
Well, you're trying to get it out as far as possible to give, the kite a proper chance to fill on the new side, and you're trying to keep the boom out as far as possible as well.
So just letting the kite breathe for as long as possible. It's
Exactly.
going to be close at this leeward mark. Sled will jibe onto the right-hand mark and will be clear ahead. Alpha Plus coming in with speed, going round the left-hand mark, looking upwind. And Alpha Plus carrying a little bit extra speed round. But it's pretty even, Momo, isn't it?
Yeah, but nice drops from both boats. Kiwi sled doing a perfectly executed Kiwi drop, and Alpha Plus doing a windward drop and a really late jibe, but both did it really nicely and got good speed around the mark. Very close. Basically went around at the same time.
But really, if you want to learn about the finer points of boat handling, here's your school. Watch and learn.
I mean, I've been watching so much of this series for exactly that point, to get all the people on Red Bandit up to speed and to learn how these maneuvers are done properly. It's, worth watching the Super Series.
Watching.
Yeah.
Because they're in for a lesson next time you see them. Anyway, close between Platoon Aviation and Provezza. Same thing applies. Opposite marks, opposite drops. Provezza probably just getting round with a little bit more speed. Platoon Aviation coming in a little bit slow, but in the match, as it were. Now then, let's keep our eyes on Paprec, who were the regatta leaders. This could be a key moment for them. Just need to keep their... they have mark room on the boats outside them. So might as well take it, as you say, wide an approach, tight on the exit.
Yeah, exactly. Getting a bit down on speed there. I think they just had a bit of dirty air from the boats behind them. A bit slow mark rounding. But they're probably going to be tacking out of there pretty soon.
So Katie, give us some excitement around this mark rounding. It's very close. Paprec coming round and tacking on the left-hand mark. A little bit down speed.
Yeah, I
rounding.
mean, you had about 6 boats coming in at the same time, basically. So it was kind of like, just how do you navigate that situation? Yeah, Paprec coming in super tight, tacking straight out. It does mean it's quite a slow maneuver to do because you have to do a tack when you're not at full speed, and that's always quite costly. But clearly, they really wanted to kind of get out of the way and get. They don't have, because they are in kind of the back bunch at the moment. They don't have heaps of kites to navigate their way through. The wind down there will still be super churned up because they'll have the kind of like, there's been a lot of boats sailing around in that area. But I think Paprec just wanting to kind of, get clear of that, not engage, not have to sit in a high slow mode, following boats out on starboard and just tacking out the way.
Let's see how this works out for Paprec then. They were up to, I think, 6th or 7th at one point.
But you can see that really well on the track just now. Paprec doing a tack with bad speed coming into the tack means that you have a huge amount of leeway out of the tack and you basically can't sail any height. And it's just not what you want to be doing after the gate, but sometimes you're just forced to do so if you have a boat ahead of you.
So there's the projected results on your screens now for the standings after race 6. If positions stay the same, it'd be tied between Alpha Plus and Sled. Alpha Plus leading the race, and by virtue of that would lead on tie break, supposing positions stay the same. So it's between Alpha Plus and Sled. Alpha Plus leading the race, Sled second, Alpha Plus leading the regatta, and indeed Sled in second. Platoon Aviation just 2 points behind in third place. No Way Back in fourth on 35 points. Paprec 36, Trinity Racing 43. Once again, Momo, you're forced to look at these 2 points that No Way Back lost in the previous race, and I think Terry will still be smarting from that when he comes ashore. But not bad positioning or position for them so far. It's always, so many of these guys say it's always about being in a position to win going into the last day, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're finding themselves in a nice position in this race. But those 2 points are costly.
So then Sled settled down, maximum height, nice breeze for them. What about their setup there, Momo?
Yeah, you can see the jib is really rounded in the foot, so they're really going for power. The Travelers all the way to windward. They're in max power mode. They're not flattening the setup at all. You can also see, the just wrinkles at the head stay. They've got the jib tack quite loose just to give the jib a bit of oomph. And same for the mainsail. Cunningham is off, and you're really trying to get a bit of volume into the sails in these conditions.
So max power as well they might. They're chasing Alpha Plus, about 70 metres behind. Alpha Plus are sailing beautifully though, aren't they, Momo? Breeze building slightly now as we expected in the later afternoon.
Yeah, no, Alpha Plus doing a really, really good job, commanding job. I think it was a really awesome call to see when they kind of jibed away from Sled on that downwind, going for an attack, forcing Sled, to make a decision. And we'll see them coming together here in a second.
I mean, these things, I love all the little private political battles or whatever you want to call them. World Championship titles, regatta titles and everything else, but there's nothing more satisfying for a team or for a tactician to be beating a boat that they used to sail on. And I think Edo Stead sailed previously on Sled, as indeed he sailed in so many boats in the fleet.
Yeah.
You can kind of apply that, but it's about confidence in your ability and if you part company with a boat, it's nice to come back and prove yourself in a head-to-head, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
And there's a few situations like that through the fleet. We've seen it so many times before. And funnily enough, Allegra and Platoon just now next to each other. John Kostecki was previously the tactician on the Platoon and parted company with them in favour of Vasco Vascotto all those years ago. But they're back head to head just now. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully JK's in for the long run. Fantastically talented sailor. Maybe just the magic touch, the magic ingredient for Allegri. Anyway, they're in 7th just now. Katie, how do you evaluate this beat? Alpha Plus have got themselves out in a strong position on that right side, following the Ed Baird school of keeping things simple. Staying to the right of your main rivals if at all possible.
I actually really love what Alpha Plus have done on this second upwind. Yeah, I mean, you could see from the downwind that they were, as opposed to kind of in the last race when we were talking about the top 2 boats, and I was saying actually maybe conservative, maybe be a bit more kind of trying to consolidate, but it looks like Alpha Plus is really, really going for that win, kind of splitting from sled around the mark. I actually think the gain potentially came at the mark because both sled and platoon took that left-hand mark as you're looking downwind, and they were both sailing quite slow for quite a while out of the mark, whereas Alpha Plus was able to kind of sail a bit faster because they didn't have to sail through the dirty air of all of the kites. And then Alpha Plus, now just kind of, they came back together with sled, got themselves into a good enough position where they had to kind of bounce sled off them. So for me, Alpha Plus right now has got sled exactly where they want them, and they're very much in control at the moment.
And this could be a key result for them if they can finish ahead of sled. But more and more you're starting to look at a group of boats, certainly, who are the real World Championship contenders, more, aren't they?
Yeah, and as Katie said, kind of a very strong move of Alpha Plus to tack on sled there, but it does show you that sled really wanted to be there, because after tacking out, they kind of tacked back quite soon. So I think there must be a lane which they both like, or a patch of pressure which they both want to be in.
Interesting, isn't it? Just watching Edo Stead doing what he wants to do. He's controlling the boat as well to a certain extent.
Yeah, on these boats you also have a lot of systems controlled by the hydraulics.
Yeah.
For example, the deflector, which pulls in the runner at the mast, and by easing and pulling on the deflector you can change kind of the bend profile of the mast, and that's normally controlled by the pedestals. So there's usually a button which you press, and then you can pump hydraulics and kind of engage all the hydraulic systems on the boats.
Anyway, it's super close between Alpha Plus and sled. Well over halfway up this second beat. Final race of the day. Absolutely on schedule as far as the regatta is concerned. Porto CERVO very much delivering so far, and we forecast suggest it should continue to do so. We've got should get a full 10 race programme on board there with No Way Back. Terry Hutchison very much in mode with the colour scheme for his shoes. Such an important part of the
really
armour.
Essential to have shoes that match the boat.
Absolutely. We've done shoes and socks before, and we did them extensively in Puerto Portales, but we loved the white shoe programme on board the Trinity, and Vasco running no shoes, one of the 2 sailors in the fleet who consistently sail with bare feet, the other being Nacho Postigo, the navigator on Provezza. Vasco getting a little bit of encouragement to get out the road. So this race not quite going the way that Vasco and the platoon aviation team wanted. They started quite well. Just got a little bit bounced in the traffic early on. So then Alpha Plus, I think, just crossing sled, or more or less, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what they wanted in this point. Right now you're not looking at attacking on them and maybe, getting to the ley line now. And luckily for them, they could cross ahead. And it's a very, very strong position to be in.
What's Edo doing just now?
I think he's working on the Traveller, but it's always cool to see a tactician, help so much with the boat handling.
He's setting so many things up that just he's the one who's moving around means that everybody can just remain settled.
Yeah, I mean, having two people walk around in the boat is just not good for boat speed. So if the tactician is standing there, it's cool to see them set something up for someone else.
He's looking around watching to see what the breeze is doing, and they're in a really good position. There's platoon aviation behind. But it's fascinating, you would have called Alpha Plus an outsider, really, an underdog as far as this World Championship is concerned, but at the halfway point, very much a contender. Everybody expected Sled to be in the frame. No way back in the frame, platoon aviation, but not many people were putting their money on Alpha Plus, were they, Katie?
Yeah, no, not at all. But I feel like that kind of happens when you have such a big fleet and there's so many boats. So we're kind of like, oh, this boat's really good, this team's really good, and then actually some boats just kind of slip through the cracks a little bit. But actually, we forget that they are actually epic teams in their own right still, and they're kind of they go under the radar, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I remember these guys are nailing it, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
I mean, clearly Alpha Plus have got speed, as we've seen before in the modest or the moderate breezes, light to moderate breezes, and they have the ability in the afterguard.
I think the combination of a experienced afterguard and the motivation of some young sailors and it's seems to be working for them.
I think a problem on Allegra there, from what we could see. Seemed to lose the main sheet, or something's technical gone wrong there, as Alpha Plus lead round to the top mark. They have a lead of about 40 metres or so over Sled. Allegra still not fully powered up. The top of the mainsail still wide open. No way back coming in from the left, looking upwind. They should have a nice position to come round in fourth. Provezza a little bit further behind. But you'd say this is Alpha Plus's race to lose, Milmo, would you?
Yeah, I mean, the Sled and Alpha Plus have kind of switched positions now. It's now Alpha Plus's turn to look behind and to maybe go on the defense, and it's Sled's turn to attack. I mean, the leading group has a bit of distance to the boats behind them, so it'll be very interesting to see what Sled does here, whether they follow or do go for an attack on that last downwind.
So setting up for the early hoist as they approach the offset mark. Kite is up before they even pass the mark, as you might expect.
Yeah, really good set. Kind of setting the kite in one boat length and having the jib down really nice and early to...
Let the kite breathe.
Exactly, yeah. And you see the bowman holding up his hand, holding the kite sheet up, showing everyone that they're clear to jibe. Also a really important call to give the afterguard, just to know that, you can safely jibe without anything happening on the front.
So then Provezza going through, I think, in fifth place. Sixth will be platoon aviation, I think, isn't it? Yep. And there, Greg Gandel on the bow of No Way Back, the sailor in the fleet who's won more world titles than anyone, 7 world titles. Wonder whether the 8th might come his way at this regatta, but they do have work to do if that's going to be the case. Need to keep moving forward. Looks a fairly even run at the moment, Katie, doesn't it? Nobody's jibing at the top mark.
Yeah, I think this is going to be potentially quite similar to the last downwind. Everyone kind of, especially on the second downwind, the front boats are probably going to be thinking about trying to consolidate their positions rather than being aggressive, so maybe he's going to see slightly less splits. But yeah, it looks relatively even at the moment. I think Alpha Plus have sailed this race so well so far by sailing really quite aggressively and quite kind of, I mean, their sailing style today I would describe as confident. This race especially, they've really made good calls and it's been really confident, and it'll be interesting to see whether they continue that down this run. Are they going to continue kind of making the confident calls, or are they going to go a bit more into defence mode and a bit more conservative and actually just try and kind of stay ahead and not do anything too crazy just to get to this finish?
They're pretty much a straight line up coming down this final run. Unfortunately, Paprec a little bit further back in the fleet after that slow leeward mark rounding. That's going to cost them. They're in 10th just now. Caballo Loco 11th, Gladiator 12th, Teasing Machine 13th, 14th is Vudu, and 15th Alkedo Vitamina. I mean, a 15th when you're just getting yourself into contention for the podium for the World Championship is really expensive just now for what you might call the home team or one of our Italian teams. So they need to regroup, Momo, don't they, and come back fighting tomorrow.
Yeah, and I mean, good job on Paprek's side there. 10th obviously isn't brilliant, but after a start like that, you know, gaining those 5 positions and 5 points back is very important, and good on them. But yeah, difficult position for Alkedo, and that really drops you down the leaderboard to have a last place in.
But in terms of sport, in terms of the challenge for this world title, it's so close. Just 5 points between first and fourth just now, or first and fifth indeed. But that top 5, you think, kind of starting to split away a little bit from the fleet with 4 races to go, Momo, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're right now the top 5 kind of shine by having the least mistakes. It's not like they're mistake free, but I mean, for example, Alpha Plus leading, but you know, having a very difficult first day. You know, there's always mistakes to be made, but just less mistakes than the rest of the boats. And then, yeah, as Katie said, Alpha Plus have just been sailing in a very confident manner.
Indeed, Blue Platoon not quite as good in this race, but certainly keeping the whales on the bus, as it were, keeping the pressure on the challenge. They'd love to be another couple of places up the standings, but as we said earlier on, so many of our big names are after guards. Always say you want to be just in a position to win on the last day, and then that's when you apply the real pressure. Maybe take a few more risks, but as ever, Momo, it's World Championship is one thing. This is about a 5 regatta season, 10 races per regatta. It's about 50 races over the year to win the 52 Super Series, and that's speak to any of them, particularly guys like Terry Hutchinson, he'll always tell you it's a marathon, not a sprint. The World Championship title is the icing on the cake, or the cherry on the cake, as it were, but this is the second regatta of the season, and
I think different teams will be also, you know, setting different goals. For some teams, just, you know, winning one event is the absolute main goal, and then some teams will be looking at trying to win the Worlds here and then to win the season overall.
Especially, you know, just remembering how last season finished with the Paprec getting on the podium and Alkedo just missing out on the podium, and Platoon Aviation coming in strong. I think in some respects we're seeing the same contenders this year so far for the potential winners of the season, which will end up in October in Valencia. 5 regattas this season, and heading to Lanzarote for 2 regattas back to back in July and August. It's a fantastic season ahead, Katie, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we've got so much racing to look forward to and so many cool venues and bringing much different conditions, and I think that's always really exciting firstly in a regatta, but also in a series as a whole. When you get a whole range of conditions and a whole range of venues, it just really kind of whoever kind of ends up winning the series is just so impressive that they're able to kind of be consistent throughout all the range of different sailing conditions, and that's what's so cool about our sport, I think, at the end of the day.
Indeed it is. I mean, this record fleet here absolutely delivering everything you could hope for, even with what you'd consider probably an underdog leading. I mean, Edo Stead now sitting down and just relaxing. He could almost have a gin and tonic in his hand. But I think, why not? Savour the moment. They've got a little bit of a lead. He's such a great sailor and such a lovely, humble individual.
Yeah, and I mean, Sled didn't go for a wild attack, and they've got the two boats that went around the top mark with them are, right behind him. So he's in a controlling position, which is nice to be in on the last downwind of this race.
And I said a few times, the partnership between Edo and Ian Moore, they've sailed together so many times before. They talk the same language. They've had the same successes over the years. Really don't have anything to prove in the big picture, but they love winning.
Yeah, you could see, Agent Steed there talking about the pressure and saying, we've got really good pressure. So he's giving constant input to everyone. And the tactician saying you've got really good pressure is always mostly kind of also a comment to the driver saying, you push for the depth if you can, because that's the important bit here.
There we go. So great pictures there. The top three boats only a few meters apart, trying to blanket the boat in front, trying to steal their wind as best they can. But it's Alpha Plus, the boat from Hong Kong, Sean and Tina Kang's program. They're really super humble when they joined the circuit, I think like 4 years ago now. Big Phil Clapp there, the grinder opposite Craig Monk. I think he's just become a father, if I'm not wrong. I've said many times before, he holds the 500-meter world record on the Concept 2, does Phil.
They're looking pretty relaxed right now, just chatting to each other. Yeah, you don't usually see the grinders being in a position to be able to chat to everyone else. So.
But I mean, if I say it again, I've said this before, but if you ever have a moment on YouTube, just watch Phil's videos of him on the Concept 2. It is an absolute object lesson in power and pressure and stamina and everything. And it really gives you it's so impressive, and he's so dedicated to that discipline, if you like.
Yeah, you'll often see, kind of rowing talents
No, it's the big thing. It's the big
sailing.
thing because of high rocks and all the rest, and he's just an absolute machine. But opposite number there, Craig Monk, as we said before, one of the stalwarts of the team. Trinity Racing in third, No Way Back. So how far have we got to go, Katie?
I reckon it's looking like Alpha Plus has got potentially one more jibe left to do. It's really, not far at all, I think. But on my point at the top, whether Alpha Plus was going to sail kind of conservatively or aggressively, it looked that they kind of went somewhere in the middle. They ended up jibing. They were below sled, but I kind of think they sailed quite a high and fast mode because they wanted to get fully clear ahead of sled and actually kind of be able to control them a bit more. So I think they are still sailing super confidently in this race, which I think is a sensible move because I think, yeah, from the outside it looks like they're just fully in control and just fully backing themselves, but we're very much getting close to the finish line here, and I think it looks like it's just going to be potentially one jibe and in for Alpha Plus. So as long as they get a good jibe, I think hopefully not too much can go wrong. No Way Back, however, has looked like they've potentially made some gains coming down here. They're looking quite good to me right now, but I'm not sure where they'll come on Trinity. But yeah, I think positionally, if they can get the jibe in front of them, maybe they would be good. But yeah, one to watch.
One to watch indeed for me. I think you could see No Way Back potentially steering third on the close to finish.
Or at least being in a position to jibe onto Trinity.
Yeah.
And give them some...
I think they're a little bit ahead at the moment, but actually nice final run from No Way Back. Maybe salve for Terry Hutchison losing, or the team losing those couple of places with that penalty. But a massive credit to Alpha Plus. They were the top team yesterday. And once again today, really solid day. Sharing the lead, I think, of the World Championship with the 2021 World Champions. And No Way Back stealing third in the end. Just coming into the finish. You want to finish strong, don't you, Momo?
Yeah, no, really, really nice work to just go on the attack there and get Trinity on that downwind. Every point counts, especially when you've lost two in the penalty in the race before.
So it always feels a little bit better if you're on the ascent, on the hunt in the final race. Credit to Privetza, pretty solid race for them. They've been a little bit haphazard, a little bit up and down so far. A fifth for them, and Platoon Aviation will come through in sixth. I think. But yeah, a nice finish at the boat end of the line. Slight bias to the boat, wouldn't you say? So I wonder what, thoughts on the platoon. I think could do better in some respects, but did a good first race.
Yeah, they'll again always be looking for a kind of consistency and counting the average points.
Allegra, I think a work in progress, heading in the right direction generally. That afterguard dynamics, communications, the finer points is a work in progress, and that I think will only get better. Talked to Luke Patience, sailing with John Kostecki for the very first time.
And it looks like Paprec have been able to kind of salvage that 9th place, which is really strong, kind of, starting dead last, having to turn back after being early over the line.
So certainly should keep them in contention, but we've got to have 4 races to go. Every point, every place is a battle. Every point, every place is precious. And Vayu just slipping through the line just ahead of Teasing Machine. And 3 boats still to go. Vudu coming next. We'll get 13th. Caballo Loco 14th. And unfortunately, a little bit of a consistent day for a Gladiator. Food for thought for them.
Yeah, really tough day. I mean, they had a great start, but like Katie said, coming in tie on the ley line there at the top mark in the first upwind was a really bad move. Being spat out, having to turn around to make it into the top mark.
Anyway, Alkedo Vitamina over the start line. Andrea Lacorte not happy. Food for thought for them as well, and as it is indeed for Gladiator. But you can't win them all. But it's really, you have to use the C word so often in this fleet, in this situation. Consistency. And in the words of the great Nicholas Sandstrom, avoiding the shockers is absolute key. And unfortunately, Gladiator have had a couple of shockers today. Need to be bouncing back tomorrow. They have the ability, they have everything, all the tools in the toolbox to win races. I think there's a mindset that they need to get into. However, the day belongs very much to Alpha Plus, I think. Really sailing exceptionally well. We call them the underdogs. A little bit under the radar coming into this regatta, into this World Championship. Not tipped by too many of our cognoscenti, as it were. Sled were, No Way Back were, and Platoon Aviation were. So where does it go for Alpha Plus, Momo and Katie? You first, Momo. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and very, very important. Just not, letting the pressure get to you. You've had 2 good days now. They know what they're doing, and they should really know that themselves. But yeah, not going too aggressive on the calls from here, and having sailing cleanly might be the way to then just win this event.
Indeed, Katie. I mean, is it about winning the event for them, or is it about the circuit? What's the evaluation? What's the equation for Alpha Plus, Katie, in your view?
I mean, I think it's my philosophy on kind of these things. I don't necessarily think about. I'm trying to, obviously, every time you do an event, you're trying to win the event. Every time you do a series, you're trying to win the series. So I try not to fixate too much on the result and more about like the process to get there. And I think for me, Alpha Plus have really kind of figured out that process, and they seem to be, I mean, you can see them growing with confidence, and I think the word I would use to describe their racing today, and like especially in that last race, was confidence. And I think there's a difference between kind of sailing aggressively and sailing confidently, and I think if they can keep sailing confidently as they are, then I wouldn't change anything with how they're sailing. I wouldn't start fixating too much on the result.
Winning.
I mean, maybe when you get to the last day, you'd start looking at the points on the table, and you'd maybe start thinking about other boats and who your competition is. But all you can do at the end of the day is race your race the best that you can and try and win the races kind of without engaging with other people. So that would probably be what I'd be saying to them right now, but I'm sure they're well aware of it, and they seem to be pretty on top of it from where I'm sitting.
I mean, 2-1, 3-1 over 4 races is absolutely fantastic. The other thing, of course, is cake, Katie. What's in that plastic box? What cake are they having as they come through the finish line, as they head ashore with a share of the overall ROLEX TP52 World Championship, Porto CERVO 26 lead? 31 points for them, 31 points for the 2021 double champions as sled. Platoon Aviation, 3 times champions in third, only 2 points behind and only 3 points off the lead, Paprec and No Way Back. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievably close with this top 5 boats, this record fleet. These 5 boats now 10 points clear of Trinity Racing. I mean, again, credit to Trinity Racing in the top half of the fleet after half of the regatta is over. Alkedo Vitamina then just that 14th place being over the start line costing them, but correspondingly great credit to Paprec for getting that 9th. That keeps them in contention. Otherwise, Provezza in 8th, Vayu 9th, Allegra 10th, Crioula 11th, Teasing Machine in 12th, Gladiator in 13th. Who would have thought a pair of 15ths and 3 15ths in their score line? That's pretty painful. And Caballo Loco in 14th, Vudu, the newcomers, in 15th, the 12th for them. That represents progress. But thank you once again for joining us after a fabulous day's racing here in Porto CERVO. Do join us once again tomorrow. Momo, fantastic work here in the studio. Katie, great energy, great enthusiasm, great information, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable. I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.